What's up, y'all? Kofi Kingston here, and I would love to have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks, depending on what that drink is, preferably non-alcoholic, you know?
How's it going, Celtic Warrior Shane?
Soda.
And I would love to have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.
Maple syrup.
Fella.
I would never have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.
Welcome to the dive bar of the IWC Wrestling on the Rocks, where every show is our first show, because we don't get to episode 2 till we do episode 1 right. And there's one thing we do right, it's get episode 1 wrong. Guys, I'm at Ref Marsh. We are at WOTR, the show. With me today, we got Miss AmandaJayne. Say hello, Miss AmandaJayne.
Hello, Mr. AmandaJayne.
No Clump today. Stuff going on again with his family. Last second thing had to occur, and so he won't be with us today. So we will be drinking his honor. He sent me a picture just a few minutes ago and said, "Show the IWC how ripped I am." And he's wearing an incredibly tight T-shirt that we'll have to tweet out, as an apology to the fans. No Clump for a couple weeks. You get a tight T-shirt Clump.
Nice. Yes, we're all about that eye candy, apparently, because today behind me, there's some sweet cheeks.
Yep.
There you go.
Sweet cheeks.
And speaking of cheeks, producer lady felt robbed last week.
She's out right now, but what
Oh,
was
she
your
is.
on the? Are you talking about on Peacemaker?
Yes, I felt robbed.
Yeah, we were kind of confused.
Yeah,
We
I was
watched
very
it, we're all
confused.
like,
Yeah.
Not a lot of skin in this one. It was weird.
No.
But there's a new episode tonight, so we can watch afterwards and keep our eyes peeled for crack. You know what I mean?
Well, you don't have to keep them peeled. I mean, unfortunately, it's like two hands there.
Yeah, that's a good point.
On a scale of Amanda hands, 2 hands.
2 full hands. That makes
Yes.
sense. Makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Let me see here. Well, let's get into a little bit about the simple stuff. What's in your glass?
Well, I know I cheated already and you kind of saw. But again, it is 2 weeks in a row. Sponsored, not sponsored, which is actually one of our new shirts.
Absolutely.
You're going to order mine tomorrow. Yes.
If you go to wrestlingontherocks.com, you can click anything that says shop. There's a few links that say shop. If you go to links, there's a link in there that says shop. Or if you just go to wrestlingontherocks.com/shop, there's 2 giant buttons there that'll also take you to the shop. Any of those ways, wrestlingontherocks.com, you'll find your way there. It's a Teespring site now, so that means we have pint glasses, we have coffee mugs, we have T-shirts as low as $13.50. We have, I think, a hoodie. We have a bunch of new colors, because before it was basically just black, purple, or like whatever one color we could get. All the shirts come in so many different colors now. I was even checking it out. The Drinking Buddy shirts, the new Drinking Buddy designs, I added pink in there just to see what it looked like. They actually look really cool with the pink.
Oh, I think I'm going to have to do that with mine.
Yeah, and then I was thinking about it. We could just, we can get them now for, all the holidays, right? You get a green one for St. Patrick's Day. You get the pink one for breast cancer awareness. You know what I mean? You can do it up.
Yeah, that sounds kind of groovy.
But there are wine tumblers as well for your sponsored, not sponsored drinking delight.
And there also is in here sponsored Stoli, by the way, with the cherries.
Sponsored Stoli.
Yeah.
And we also have coffee mugs, so that way you can drink your new wave coffee in style. You guys can get your Flow State coffee, which is a specialty grade coffee, by going to newwave.co and putting in promo code CHEERS for 10% off anything that they have going on over there. Flow State coffee is a specialty grade coffee with L-theanine and raw cacao for creativity and productivity. Gives you better energy, focus, and mood than a regular cup of coffee, while decreasing negative side effects like jitters, crash, anxiety, blood pressure, things like that. It's the coffee for creators, they like to say. It's being productive while not being antsy. But you can go ahead and have your new wave now in a Wrestling on the Rocks mug. So, worlds collide.
Or if you want to be fancy.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, if you want to be fancy. We have beer. We have pint glasses, correct?
Yep.
I think. Okay. Take a pint glass and then just put some ice in it and have iced coffee, Don't have to be like Clump and make it, with a splash of coffee and it's all milk. But yes, lots of different ways. So be creative.
That's a good point. And if you have the pint glass and you use it for your iced coffee, you can also use it for your beer. Multifaceted. So
yeah, we're those kind of drinks.
Yeah. I'm having sweet tea and vodka today.
Ooh.
I found a keto sweet tea. It was outrageous. It's a
Ooh.
0 sugar sweet tea made by Gold Peak.
Oh.
It's keto friendly, and it tastes just like Popeye's sweet tea. It's so good. I couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe I went back and got a bunch more.
Maybe that is Popeye's sweet tea.
Do they have sugar-free sweet tea?
I don't know. I don't know.
Oh, well.
Normally when I go to Popeyes, I think I only get Hawaiian Punch, I think. Yeah. So, I don't know.
Well, I've been happy with it. I've been a fan. Been
Nice.
a fan of it.
Nice.
But I think it's all the housekeeping. If you want to get into, I don't have much for news, so we can just start talking about some of the shows and such. Oh, you have birthdays, right?
We have birthdays. Yep, birthdays. This birthday week had a lot of good birthdays. So yesterday, shout out to the boss herself, Sasha Banks, had her birthday yesterday. So
yeah,
cheers.
And today
cheers
they released Sideshow released a Kosa Reeves action figure. And if you're familiar with Sideshow, they're the ones who have like that $300 Yoda or Grogu baby Yoda that looked like real as hell. Sideshow does really incredible figures that are like so ultra detailed. They're usually several hundred. Or if you even remember, they had like the Ric Flair one and the Rock one, and then it's got little magnet parts so you can change their head and their era and stuff like that. And those are made by the same company. So yeah, there's now one for Sasha Banks' Star Wars character.
Oh wow!
And it looks fucking incredible. Yeah, that just came out today too. So cheers on both sides of that.
Oh yeah.
Happy birthday.
Awesome. And for those people who, like things on the evil side, everything is evil. And Evil did have a birthday yesterday. So happy birthday, Evil.
Evil from NJPW?
Yeah. And I will say this, just gonna say this comment, you can at me, I don't care. When he left LIJ, I've said it before, so I'll say this till my dying day. He kind of sucks now. Sorry, is what it is. Yeah, but who am I to say? I just watch his shit and drink, so but speaking of LIJ, his tag team partner, one of my personal favorites, Sonata, his birthday's tomorrow, along with the whitest guy I probably have ever seen in my life, Sheamus.
Oh, fella!
Yeah, what a great fella. And
yeah, he's on our intro.
Yeah, he is. So shout out to kind of a friend of the show, our pale friend. Cheers for you.
Friend of the show. He said he would love to have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks, I believe.
Well, we would love to have a drink with him.
That's a good point.
So yes, and then if you're into this other cup stuff, obviously, a couple days from now this weekend, one of Marsh's favorites, I'll let you wish this person happy birthday.
Who is it? I don't have the list in front of me. You have the list.
It's one of your favorites.
I don't have the list.
The man.
Becky Lynch?
Yes.
What day is her birthday? When's that?
The 30th.
The 30th? Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Cheers and happy birthday to the man coming up. I better get something together here.
Yeah, you better get something together there. What a fan are you? Har har. I'm yeah. But happy birthday to everybody. It's a great weekend of wrestling. So lots of good stuff happening. Bowl is happening starting Saturday. You cannot see this. If you do see people post video clips, please report them, because why? That's really against their thing. And to be quite honest with you, PWG is kind of sacred, and we'd like to keep it that way. So
wait, do they record it?
They do, because that's what the DVDs come out like 10 million years later. Like right now, the last show finally went on pre-sale, which is interesting, because usually they're a little behind. But
they don't stream it, right?
No, they don't. Do not, will not. So if you try to go in there, people, there's a lot of noobs that are going because they think that, oh, this AEW person is going to be there. This person is going to be there. No, because the regulars are, and I don't want to say we're snotty, but I'm not going to Bola just because the COVID is running rampant. That's my choice. But a lot of the regulars are very, they've been going since the Reseda days, a lot of them. A lot of them never miss a show. But they're very protective, and I'll say we, because I kind of am a regular in my own way. We're very protective of keeping it kind of pure, because that was some of, at the time, the heyday with some of the best wrestling you'd see.
Yeah.
Now, because people have come and basically, I don't know, kind of, are emulating that AEW. It's almost kind of out there for free, but these are ones where, I was first exposed to like Walter, Ilya Dragunov, Shingo Takagi. I mean, people like that. And, it's a really cool thing. And another one of our
first
favorite.
Place you saw Jungle Boy, isn't it?
No, Jungle Boy I've been seeing since it was APW, but since we almost like when he first started. Yeah, same with Atlas. Okay. But also that's PWG is where I saw Jonah for the first time. Huge fan. So, and it kind of sucks because I would have loved to go on to see him. And not only just that, but say hello and give a big hug because he's a really cool person. So
yeah. Who do they have on the docket so far?
We have Speedball Mike Bailey is on there, Bandito, Ray Horace. It's got hold on. There's so many people on this. I believe Daniel Garcia is on there. Let me pull it up. Hold on. I am not on my laptop today, folk. So a little slow. That's okay. PG. All right. We've got here Jonah, Buddy Matthews, Jonathan Gresham, Davey Richards, J.D. Drake, Black Taurus, Lee Moriarty, Alex Shelley, Jack Cartwheel, Leo Rush, Kevin Blackwood, Daniel Garcia, Aramis, Ray Horace. Yeah. And I know a lot of people were like, oh, there was a participant called Philip Five Skulls. Mm-hmm. Yep, sorry, he's not going to be there because Speedball took his place. Oh. I'll let you guys imagine what that was, and no, it's not what you think it was.
I'm going to post it up here because I don't know if we'll tweet it out or not. Here's Clump.
Oh, yeah, you need to tweet that out because
Here's
it's
Clump
like
in a tight shirt.
There's a lot of diversity and kitty cats. You get a lot of
It's the full gamut. It's the full thing. Mm-hmm. Quick shout out for anybody who's listening live or if you're in the chat or anything. Our Royal Raffle is going to be this weekend, where during Royal Rumble we're going to give out, or I think tonight. So I think like kind of now or never is kind of the deal. If you want to be in that raffle, let us know. There's only like 1 or 2 spots left open even. So, hit it while you can. Kevlar is going to be doing the drawing for the numbers tonight for both the male and female Rumbles. You're going to get 2 numbers, one for the men's, one for the females. And if your number is the number of the winner, you'll be able to pick from our new Teespring site that we talked about earlier, any pint glass, coffee mug, or t-shirt. Those are the items that you'll be able to pick from. And so, yeah, go ahead and jump in. If you're in the chat and want to be part of that, let us know right now. I don't know how much longer we have to catch Kev before he does the drawing. But yeah,
if we need to fill it out, you can put my name in. I kind of stayed away because women's winner last year because I want more of our listeners to kind of have fun with it. So I don't mind. But if we have to have a spot, you can throw my name in there.
We'll see. Like I said, there's only like 1 or 2 spots left open.
Yeah,
so
that's why I want
on Twitter,
everybody to fill it. Yeah, that's why I didn't.
Which has been awesome, like a fantastic response, because last year it took us like a full month to get everybody in there, and we ended up having to reach out to like our brothers and sisters and be like, hey, do you want to be a part of it? This year we just put it out, and within a day we are almost done. So it's been awesome. Kudos to the IWC, man. Mm-hmm. So that's what's going on with Bola and PWG. Mm-hmm. GCW happened this weekend.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you caught any of that. I didn't get to see the full show, but I saw a bunch of highlights. I was following along. It was a pretty fucking stacked show. It was cool. Yeah.
One comment I want to say is I think with independent wrestling, because the night before was the Indie Wrestling Hall of Fame. So congratulations to everybody who was inducted. Tracy Smothers, Ruckus, Lufisto. That was a great that one right there was a great honor for her to be inducted as far as women go. Dave Prazak, Jerry Lynn, and I'm forgetting one person. Homicide. Oh my God, how can I forget Homicide? Oh God, I could get killed for that one. But if you have not seen it, it is on YouTube. Go, and it's really kind of cool because you can see a lot of these guys, their influence. Like Sanjay Dutt inducted Ruckus because they're homies from back in the day. The excitement that Chris Dickinson had inducting Homicide, I mean, it was real. I mean, that was it. That was like, I'm like, oh my God, he's so excited. And he's wearing his glasses. I'm so sorry. Sorry, I love Chris Dickinson in glasses. So that kind of, but anyways, but also seeing, Chris Hero come out and Spider-Nate Webb come out and induct Tracy Smothers in the Hall of Fame. Yeah. And especially when you have someone like a Chris Hero, who is, I like to call him as, people like to call Serena Deeb the professor. He's another one. I mean, this guy is like, he's like the Yoda, like the Zen master of independent wrestling. And if you ever get to meet Hero and you're a real indie geek of certain things, not like your standard Joe Schmo, whatever, but I mean, if it's something like really, really cool, yeah, I mean, he'll sit there and talk your ear out for hours. So, it was kind of cool to see that. And I will say, I didn't really agree necessarily that Phil should have inducted Prazak because, well, it was him and Cabana, but I understand. But at least Prazak did acknowledge Cabana, which, it was the three of them that were on the roads together. So, kind of awkward, but nonetheless, it was great. We're always having MLJ and why am I blanking on Kevin Gill's name? Oh my God. I was like, I see him right there. Oh yeah. That's the homie. They did a really great job with hosting. So shout out to them. Great. Yeah, Kevin Gill's awesome. Though.
Yep. What up though? I don't know what that's from. Yep. I don't know. I've never heard it anywhere in my life. But his what up though?
Yep.
Kills me.
Great. And if you're ever at an event that he is at, bring him a highball energy drink. He'll be your best friend.
Oh yeah.
There's a tip from the pros. Yep, that's the one.
All right.
Yeah. So, but yeah, the Hammerstein show. I'll tell you.
Oh, and X-Pac was there inducting Jerry Lynn. How fucking cool!
Yeah, that too. That was really cool. I mean, everybody loves Jerry Lynn. So and yeah, did you know that Waltman was doing that?
Yeah, I knew that was happening. But I mean, yeah, it was amazing because also Jerry Lynn versus the Lightning Kid in the original. I want to say it was originally GCW. Wasn't that Georgia Championship Wrestling?
Yeah, I think so. Mm-hmm.
Or GWF. That's what it was. Global something wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
In the original GWF, their stuff they did, and I think did a trilogy of matches in their home state, Minnesota, that was getting a lot of press by Wade Keller at the time through the Pro Wrestling Torch. That ushered in what I think to be the majority of the cruiserweights as we know them, and the people who were moved to do that. What we see nowadays, what AEW is based off of, started with those two dudes in a bar.
Yeah.
And so amazing to recognize Jerry Lynn on that level, and to be able to have the opportunity to have X-Pac come through and go through. Because here's the other weird part about that story. Like when you think of their story, Jerry Lynn never made it to the heights that X-Pac was able to make it to.
Mm-hmm.
And X-Pac will be the first one to tell you that Jerry Lynn was the one that he thought would have done it. You know what I mean? He was the better, more stable, more fundamentally sound, all that stuff. Mm-hmm. Less likely to rock the boat. But at the same time, I think that X-Pac even said in an interview with him that part of the reason he thinks that might even be was because X-Pac was more of an asshole. He was more pushing for things, where Lynn might have been a little bit more of a pushover at times. But I mean, the things happen as they happen. Obviously, it's just awesome to see the two of them be able to get to share that spotlight a little bit. You know what I mean? Cool, just really cool. So
I'm surprised they did not induct a ref.
Yeah, but no one ever does.
No, I mean, but GCW there's a lot of real iconic indie wrestling refs that are out there too. Not just, like people who, ring announced and things like that, but there are.
Yeah.
Right. But maybe, who knows? We'll see next year. We'll see.
Yeah. But they did have their show in the Hammerstein, which was huge for an indie promotion like that to be able to get the Hammerstein, sell it out, do as well as they're doing. Something you and I both noticed about it, it was interesting to see Cardona beats Janela. Ruby Soho beats Alley Catch. Jeff Jarrett defeats Effie. Moxley defeats Homicide. I was actually even surprised that Nick Gage and Matt Tremont defeated the Briscoes. It's a short reign for the Briscoes.
Yeah.
But it makes me wonder, what do you think about the show overall? I thought the energy was incredible because having gone, there was a lot of talent in matches that I didn't personally feel like I was behind. But at the same time, the energy for all that stuff that was just out there was so incredible. It was like, I wouldn't want to change anything. Even though I'm like, oh yeah, I'm not into the match. The whole crowd is, and that's a cool energy. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And this was a lot of like their best of the best. Blake Christian versus Leo Rush was cool.
That was really cool. Yeah. I wonder, because I was at All In, and I always tell people the energy that was in that building was special.
Yeah.
Because that was probably, probably the biggest indie wrestling show of all time. I don't count the AEW ones, no offense to people, because that's not independent wrestling. That's something else now.
Oh, AEW?
Even when they started. Yeah.
They've never been independent.
No, but if people want to argue with me about it, and I know people probably would, it's not independent wrestling.
No.
Okay.
When you start with $1 billion, you're not.
Yeah, you lose that. When you put a lot of money behind it, you lose that. So
you start with not only $1 billion, but with a national TV contract without even having a show. You're not an indie promotion just trying to get trying to bring it up by the you're starting at a different point. You're not trying to figure out how to get a ring. They had a TV contract before they had a ring.
Yeah, that's sad.
If you remember that, they were getting to the point where the show was getting close and they realized they still didn't have a ring.
Yeah, and the Bucks had one in their backyard, so go figure, but whatever. But it's interesting for facts as people didn't know. The reason why, because ROH always did Final Battle at Hammerstein forever until 1 year, 2 years ago, couldn't sell it out. It was the year that Matt Taven was the champion, and that bullshit that happened at Madison Square Garden, all of that, they couldn't sell it because there was a huge backlash with it. So to see a company like GCW go in there and they sold that shit out, again, that was pretty magical, especially for a company that most people are like, oh, all they do is deathmatch, and kind of people poo-poo that, or comedy things, and people don't really like that necessarily. But I'm wondering, and I don't know, I can't think of anyone off the top of my head who went to All In and went to GCW and Hammerstein. And if there is somebody out there and you're listening, can you hit me up or Marsha or our Twitter? Because I'm really curious to know what your thoughts are and the feelings, like what was different, because I can only tell you about All In, but I'm really curious to know, like, was it the same kind of vibe and spirit of, this is something that's never happened, and who knows if it'll happen again, which I'm pretty sure it will. Things like that. So I'm curious.
Yeah, could be great. Matt Cardona with Chelsea Green defeating Joey Janela. Janela had run-ins by Sabu, Bill Alfonso, Brian Myers, Hornswoggle, X-Pac, and friend of the show, Sam Stackhouse. Whoop, 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 whoop. That was awesome.
I screamed
it was
when
so
I saw
cool
Sam.
to see Stackhouse.
I'm like, Sam! Yeah, I was like, wow. Now, the power of, and I will say this, because most people, GCW is one of these special places that if you work hard, you're not politicking and things like that, you actually can get pretty far. Look at Juicy Finau, what's happened to him in his career.
It's
and now
incredible.
Look at Sam. I mean,
Juicy's been wrestling like what, 1 or 2 years?
Not even, about 1 or 2 years. Yeah, but look at Sam. I mean, holy shit. to be in a program with fucking Janela and all
And
of this
Cardona?
shit because Cardona, because this was the match that probably of anybody, you cannot tell me that this was the one that even outsiders were like, oh, I got to see this, just because of how hated Cardona is in how much natural heat him and Chelsea get. And it's really amazing to say that. And also, I do want to say, too, shout out to the Joey Janela cosplayer, my buddy, Joey Johnella. Bravo to you, dude. Dude, you're like the hero of whatever. You can follow him on Twitter, Joey Johnella, at Joey Johnella. That was the best thing ever. And he said it was funny that he ran into Cardona and Chelsea out on the streets. And he's like, bro, he's like, you damn. Joey's my favorite, so you know. So I thought that was pretty cool. The Cardona recognized. You recognize, real recognizes real. So
right. But that was even like the idea that Stackhouse was in here. It wasn't that Stackhouse was in here because of Janela or because of GCW necessarily. He's in there because of the Cardona story. Because part of the thing that happened with Cardona was that Stackhouse came out to answer the challenge the once, and so here was a bunch of people. Here was Matt Cardona's cosmic retribution for everything he's been saying and doing to the GCW universe. All the players came through. I thought it was really cool to see Brian Myers too, because he's been very open in almost every interview I've ever heard him in, saying that he has absolutely no desire to do anything with GCW whatsoever.
Yeah.
So when he came in for that spot there, I thought that was cool. But that may be the only time we see him in GCW.
I'm sure.
And to see X-Pac out there looking like $1 million. So cool. Matt Cardona afterwards cut a promo on X-Pac, but didn't issue a challenge. So it makes me wonder, is X-Pac's return going to be with a Cardona? Because honestly, there's a lot worse people you can pick. Like that's not a bad.
No.
You know what I mean? Like there's.
Yeah.
I think it'd be smart. I think Matt Cardona might be one of the hottest indie talents out there right now. He's one of the few not signed to a massive company, and he might be one of the hottest and most experienced out there. And like you said, he deserves it.
He does. He does.
Actually, wish I was wearing my Matt Cardona ref shirt now that I think about it.
Yeah.
Because I have the one.
Yeah, you do. But it's funny because, like, a lot of people will look at him and be like, are you kidding me? Like, no, dude. Like, if you look back at his career, okay, he was always doing something and trying to be innovative to get eyes on him. I mean, his YouTube show. I mean, that's what got me was the YouTube show. I was like, who is this fool? This is hilarious.
Yeah.
And I just wonder, I was watching, WWE back then, and I was invested in it because this guy was like this lovable loser. Now he's evolved into this. Oh my God, this guy's a fucking big piece of shit, and it's amazing to see. And I think that it's a big middle finger to anybody, any company or whatever, who I gave my all to you. You really didn't have anything for me. And it's a big, this is what I could have given to you, so fuck you. Love it. That's the best story.
Well, I would say it's slightly different. Cardona's always said that the always ready and the being positive, that was always a mentality that he had to, this is part of the reason why I love him so much. It's a mentality he has to work towards. He says he's not naturally a positive guy. That naturally he's always thinking about the worst scenario and always kind of like, oh no, here we go kind of a deal.
Yeah.
But that he makes the conscious effort consistently to be positive, to make a positive spin on things, to stay ready and stay ready for anything. You know what I mean? That always ready thing was like a mantra. If they're going to use me, they're going to use me and they're going to get 110% of me. If they're not going to use me, I'll be ready for when they want to use me kind of a deal. But he's always said that he doesn't do anything to prove anybody wrong. He's not doing anything for the haters or the people who just shit on him at all. Not even to prove them wrong. All he's trying to do is prove all of his supporters right. And I think that that's the biggest fuck you to the haters is, I'm not doing it to prove you wrong. You're irrelevant to the conversation. I'm doing it to prove all my supporters right. Like, it's the greatest. He's just such an inspiring guy, man. His work ethic's incredible.
Absolutely.
and he's so smart and clever. And how funny is it that his gimmick on the indies is basically if the entire WWE lore was inside of one single human being. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He is WWE as a human. It's hysterical.
Yeah. I think more so than Cena or anybody that you would say is a big WWE company man. I definitely believe so.
Yeah. It's not just he's a company man. He's the company incarnate. He's if the company were a man. You know what I mean? Because he had the spinner belt. He's a little bit of everybody. He came out dressed as Vince. He came out dressed as Macho. He came out with a GCW spinner belt. Like anything that's ever happened, the whole storyline with Janela and Chelsea was based off of a Hogan Elizabeth storyline.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah.
You know, like it's hysterical. It's just so incredible that it's like just doing stuff that's classic WWE and throwing it in the face of the indies, who a lot of times the fan base is just there because they're just tired of WWE. You know, so it's just amazing what he's doing. Let's talk a little bit about what on the Matt Cardona topic. If you're ready to move on from the GCW show, are you?
Yeah. Oh, I also want to say this. I really, I'm glad that because Gage was not supposed to be on the card at all.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really glad that he actually did show up on the card, because you cannot have a GCW show that's probably like the biggest show they've ever had without, Nick fucking Gage. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he's
MDK
the hometown
Alday.
hero.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no
That
main
place
event
went
without
nuts.
him.
When he came out, that place went nuts. You can't, when you watch it back, the sound doesn't do it justice. I'm pretty sure that place was so fucking loud. Yeah.
I'm sure the building next door shook. There's just no way.
Probably the damn down the road over there, Madison Square Garden, might have shook too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was, 100%. MDK, I mean, it's almost if GCW were a human, it would be Nick Gage. He is the most our guy of that company. Like,
oh yeah.
And it's just incredible. He's their lifeblood in a lot of ways. But I agree with you what you said before, that this is kind of a big step in proving a lot of people wrong, myself included. I dismissed a lot of GCW stuff early on because it was a lot of press that we saw was deathmatch related. I remember seeing a bunch of clips of just really choreographed dance type stuff, and I was like, yeah, nothing they're showing me makes me interested. And so I was kind of dismissive of anything GCW. As things started building and I started seeing that they weren't focusing on that concept. It was just part of their overall show. Then it became a lot more interesting once you can like step away and realize, hey, they're not just a bunch of death matches over and over again. They're not just a bunch of flippy guys choreographing dance stuff. Those are all part of an overall show. There's a lot more to it, and a lot of it is just a vibe. You know what I mean? Like, it's really cool.
Yeah, I can tell you from the first one I went to, which was the David Arquette one. That's one you won't forget. But I've never been, that was my first one going to a death match. Okay. I was going because the card looked really cool. Okay. Death match, I'm like, oh, I don't know. I don't know if I like this light tube concept and stuff. Obviously I did not. That match, I was in a ball hiding behind people. It was scary. But I really think because that card was so diversified, they had All Ego Ethan Page was wrestling D'Lo Brown. Yeah. You had Penelope Ford was versing the Human Tornado. I mean, you had some really wacky, cool shit, and you got flippy floppy shit. But it was a little bit of everything. I mean, we got Great Sasuke was there. I can't remember who he wrestled offhand. I can't remember. I want to say it was Mansoor, maybe, but I could be wrong. But it was a really cool show. And as they've been getting bigger and bigger, I think that a lot of people now see that, hey, there's a lot of variety there. It's not just people beating the shit out of each other with light tubes or barbed wire or flame or whatever. And it's really cool because there's actually a lot of long-term storytelling with GCW. It's, and most people are shocked when you tell them that. They're like, no. Like, oh, yeah. Like, a lot of these storylines are heavily, big parts of, little parts of the big picture. So.
Yeah. No, there's actually storylines going on there, which is pretty rare for a lot of indie shows. There's a lot of times there'll be like underlying some sort of storyline that you can get clips of on Facebook or something. But GCW does a really good job of actually like maintaining storylines, which I think is surprising to people.
Yeah, and I think that's what people want now.
Oh yeah,
out of indie wrestling,
especially if you're watching indie wrestling because you're looking for an alternative. Because if you're looking for an alternative to WWE and you find AEW, it's really a coin toss on if you find it to truly be an alternative or not. They're putting on a very similar product in a lot of ways. They're not putting on a similar product in a lot of ways as well, but it really comes down to what do you see when you tune in if you're looking for that alternative. And something like GCW, and I would even include like Mission Pro in that conversation, are real alternatives to those people that they can latch onto and become fans of and interact with in a way that is just impressive. You know?
Yeah, NWA. I'll kind of mention them. In a way, they were doing it, but then it got a little, I don't know, I don't want to say weird, but it was like going to be that kind of product, and then it kind of just, you know, I think the big thing, taking it off of YouTube was probably the biggest mistake. And I do
think that was a big problem. I also feel that there was something about NWA and like the NWA fan base that were like the originals that started to come off real like, I want to say like country, like a cliquish, because I was thinking like a country club or some sort of like almost like a members only jacket kind of a deal where it was just like there's a big feeling that I get when I try to interact with the NWA online, even that it's you're not one of us until you prove to us you are. And like I can't just be a fan. Like it doesn't seem to be like very welcoming in that regard. You have to like prove yourself. And the fact that they put up that paywall and their fan base is not overly welcoming, especially if you're into things more than just NWA. Like once you start talking about other stuff, you start getting unfollowed. So you can like talk about NWA all day long, but the second you're all like, "Oh shit, SmackDown was great this week," you get unfollowed. Like we saw that a number of times. There was a number of NWA accounts that followed us and unfollowed us a couple of times. As we talked more about NWA, they'd follow us. As we started talking about other shows, they'd unfollow. And it was just one of those things where it's like, this is a weird community. You know what I mean? So I think that doesn't help either, to be honest, which is also a shame because I've loved so much of NWA. It's how we met. You and me met at an NWA show.
Yeah, we did.
We wouldn't be here right now if it weren't for that.
Exactly.
And for shout out to Dave Wills for introducing us.
Love you, Dave.
Love Dave Wills. He's real to me.
He is real to me too, damn it.
Before we move on into the NWA conversation that I want to, real quick, side note, side quest, as they say in D&D. Do you think the Briscoe brothers are signing with somebody? You think that's why they dropped the titles?
No. I think with the Briscoes, well, it's hard to say right now because Ring of Honor announced that they are going to be running during WrestleMania weekend.
Yep.
That kind of shocked me, but didn't shock me because, okay, you just basically abandoned your roster. A lot of your key players are somewhere else now. They're not going to take a shot on some of the people that were in the background. Like, for example, shout out to LSG, Leon St. Giovanni, Josh Woods. These are guys that are phenomenal. Like Silas, I fucking love Silas.
Yeah,
I'm surprised he hasn't shown up anywhere yet, but he'll show up somewhere. I just don't know where. I was hoping maybe we'd see him on Impact, maybe, but that's where I kind of thought that would be a good fit for him. But you dismantled everything. You're the golden boy of your promotion is gone. He was the first one to go, and you guys let him go so quick. So it just makes me wonder, like, you know, that just, I don't know. Will they go back to it? That's all they pretty much all they've known. I think we'll see them a little bit more in GCW. Would we see them in AEW? No, because I don't think that their fan base is, well, let's go there. I don't think their fan base really is worthy of seeing something like that. They've got some of the best tag teams in the world, and they're used shitty.
Yeah, you wouldn't.
So why would anyone go there? You know?
It's really weird because it's a company that's been from the beginning based around how much they were going to be building a tag team division, how important the tag team division was going to be. You're going to see tag teams main eventing. At this point, when tag teams main event, it's strictly for the fact so they can say that a tag team main evented, not because they've built enough story or because there's enough interest, but strictly to say, look at our tag team as a main event. Outside of the Young Bucks, they haven't pushed any tag team to be on that upper echelon level, even though they have FTR, even though they have Jurassic Express. They've tried. They've always put a stopper in the way. There's always something that pushes them back down.
With every one of those ones. Private Party, that was supposed to be the big one, and then when they didn't do it, no. Then they had Top Flight. Well, yeah, one kid got injured, and whatever. But even then, they weren't pulling the trigger. FTR. I mean, the Lucha Brothers. I mean, come on. I mean, you put the belts on a tag team right now where only one person does the work, and it ain't Luchasaurus.
I had someone reach out to me the other day and said, "Hey, are the Lucha or is Jurassic Express the tag champs?" And I goes, "Yeah, I think that happened a couple weeks back." And he's all like, "Jesus, like they're not highlighting it enough. Like it might as well be a YouTube championship." So I agree. My problem with the concept of Briscoes going to AEW is they're just going to be another tag team in the mix, and those guys are so good. I mean, look at Proud and Powerful. Look at Tito and Santana. They're nothing.
But now I think they're starting to break. I hope so. After seeing Dynamite this week, that they're breaking away.
I hope so too. But we're 3 years in. You know what I mean? Like they've been there for a long time, is what I'm saying. So I don't know if I would want the Briscoes to show up in AEW only to wait another 4 or 5 years to see something happening with them, because of the way that show is booked and written. Tony writes 4 years out. So if they add anybody in, sorry, you're just part of the rest of the mix until we get to a point where we can start writing you in. That's what I think happened even with the tag titles. It just feels like all these people are here who come in and they get pushed around, moved around, pushed down on the card just because the vision is there, and by hell or high water, that's what we're doing, whether or not it highlights any of the talent that we brought in. Like, I love the Briscoe brothers. They're the most legit dudes I think I've ever seen. From the second you see them, you go, oh.
You might not like some of their political stance, or some of the things they've said before. Yeah. But you know what? My thing is this. Okay, everyone's got skeletons in their closet. I'm sure, like everyone's not, prim and proper Mary Poppins. So that's all I'll say about that. But you cannot deny that they are an incredible, incredible tag team. You cannot deny that.
And as much as we've talked about it a lot. I think it's pretty clear that we all have pretty left-facing views about stuff. I'm not for 1 second going to say that wrestling should not include people who think conservatively or think along the lines of a Republican. Like, if wrestling is for everybody, then wrestling is for everybody. And at the end of the day, it's about what you bring to me that I'm seeing as a viewer. If all of their promos were heavily political with stuff I didn't agree with, and it wasn't even part of the story, but it was just part of their promo, I'd be like, hey, what the fuck is this? But they don't. They come in being who they are, being them boys, talking their shit, and then getting it done in the ring. They're believable and easy to get behind in that regard. That other stuff is for out of the ring. What they're giving to me as a viewer is everything I need to buy in.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? And I don't think that every single person who turns out to be a Republican should be outed from the wrestling career base or fan base.
It's not really a Republican. It's people that have a different view. That's what it is. Yeah.
Like, for such an open community and a wrestling for everybody community, as soon as they find out somebody said something positive about Trump one time, it's get them out of the business forever. Yeah. And you go, okay, well, I think there's room for gray in politics as far as my entertainment's concerned.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Absolutely. I'm friends with people who are very Republican, and we disagree on so much. But at the end of the day, if my car breaks down, they'll pick me up. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Hey, give me 2 seconds real quick. I don't know if there's anybody in the chat you want to check it out.
There's in the chat, but do you have a headphone in so you can hear if I'm talking?
No, it's only going to take me a second. So don't worry about it. I don't have a headphone. It died. Yeah.
All right. I was just finding out because I was going to read some of the stuff.
Go ahead and read some of the stuff.
Yeah. So, talking a little about Matt Cardona and NWA, he was on Busted Open. He had a few things to say. One of which about Trevor Murdoch. He said, they need a face of the company like me. Trevor Murdoch, no offense to Trevor, but the guy's not even verified on social media. He goes, how can you have a world champion that's not even verified on social media? It's an embarrassment. Because I think it's like 10,000 followers. That's horrible. My dog has 10,000 followers. Matt Cardona then went on to reveal that, Trevor Murdoch is a guy who, when I first got to WWE, treated me like shit. He goes, one of the boys in the dressing room, I was a rookie. So he talks about how Trevor's been treating him like shit and how that he thinks that he's a bigger star that'll bring legitimacy and credibility. He goes, we need a real champion in the NWA, someone who is going to bring some credibility to the title, some buzz, some attention. I think there's room for the conversation just because as much as I love Trevor Murdoch, and I do, I was choked up when I saw the first photo that he had won the title off Nick Aldis. I said, there we go. I drew a shirt up for him when he made mention that he'd never had a t-shirt. I drew one up and sent it to him, and he ignored it. And I was like, all right, well, you still don't have a t-shirt. You could have had one for free. But yeah, when he first won the North American title, I drew a picture of him like Harley Race, because Harley Race had an old shirt that was Harley Race with the picture of the NWA title on, and I drew one up like Trevor Murdoch very similarly, and just said tradition or something like that underneath it. I love Trevor Murdoch. He's legit. He's another guy I can buy into. But does saying Trevor Murdoch is your NWA champion make somebody go, oh shit, I think I should watch some NWA? Versus if you said, hey, did you hear Zack Ryder's on the indie scene calling himself the Deathmatch King, having bloody bouts, and now he's about to try and take the NWA title? You'd go, wait. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
There is some weight to what he's saying, which is interesting.
Yeah, I think that with him, he's riding on a really big high. And is there a lot of change that he can do that's positive? Absolutely, to the industry. Is it wanted? I don't know. That remains to really be seen, because there's some people who would like to think that they're indie purists and, will say, oh, that's not how it should be. It should be, a certain way. It's like what you said about the NWA fan base. And let me go there with it. Yeah. It's like a good old boys club, and I think that when I went, I was an outsider, total outsider, was treated like it. Would I go back? Probably not. No, the only way I would have gone back and was going back was because I knew Marty was going to take that belt because of, whatever. I knew it in my heart, and this was going to be his thing. And anybody
and to
who,
be honest,
knows.
As much as I had a good time there, it was only you and Dave that I even made friends with.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It was a very exclusive club, it felt like, to be a part of. So 100% I would not have gone back if I didn't know for a fact that both you and Dave would have been there. I've talked to, and every time I think about going to any show in Atlanta at this point, I reach out to Dave and be like, hey, what happens if this happens? You know what I mean? Let's figure this out.
Yeah. Well, no, I was thinking about going to Lucha Mucha on the 6th of March. We all know why. Okay, we all know why. I'm not gonna spell it out. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then go look it up and you'll be like, oh. Yeah. But part of me was like, I was gonna ask Dave, hey, I'm sure these people probably aren't going to that. But I don't want to spend money to feel the way that some people made me feel there. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm like, no, sorry.
Yeah. 100%. What was the CWF Atlanta was doing a show, and I reached out to Dave and was like, hey, if I make it out there, what can we do? You know what I mean? Can you help put me on a couch or something? I was trying to figure it out. Ultimately, I couldn't make it happen, but the conversation was there, and 100% I wouldn't have considered an NWA without a similar conversation. Jeremy in Time coming through the chat saying, how's it going, Dive Bar? Cheers to Jeremy in Time. But I think it makes it interesting. Also, I mean, on the the topic with, well, I mean, real quick, Jeremy In Time, part of the In Time Wrestling podcast, just dropped a new episode today about NXT and AEW as well. We're still deep in NWA and GCW. We may just gloss over AEW and NXT, to be honest, but.
Well, maybe. There were some interesting things in both.
There was.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Matt Cardona also saying he watched, he goes, when I was 6 years old, I watched it, the NWA. I thought it sucked. I thought everything was old and dated and boring. Now, 30 years later, it's the same thing. It still sucks. It's still boring. It's still dated. What are we doing? He goes, there is a difference between being nostalgic and living in the past. There's no entrance music. If they're trying to attract new fans and someone is turning this on and you just have two guys walking out to fight with no music, what is this? He goes, I love the old school set. Only on pay-per-views.
I only have pay-per-views, I know.
Yep. He goes, I love the old school set. I'm nostalgic for it, but maybe they should be once a year where they go back to it and no music. He goes, we need some energy. As a wrestler, you can't even get excited for your match, and there's nothing playing. It's hard for me, at least. Oh, and this is a really good point, too. He goes, NW as a company is incredible. He goes, I was there for the tapings, had an excellent time. I was never handed a script, not even bullet points, just told you're talking on the show, which I loved. Which also, when you think about, if that's just how they've been doing it, it makes guys like LA Knight even that much more impressive. Mm-hmm. Not even given a, hey, we kind of wanted to go this way. A guy like Ricky Starks, the promos he was cutting on NWA is far and away, I think, his best work to date. I think he's been doing the best he can with what he can in AEW, but I think the promos, he's doing the best he can, but I feel like that he is not the Ricky Starks of NWA, and that was the Ricky Starks I was the most impressed with.
Mm-hmm. He's not like, Ricky Starks anymore, period. I don't know what this is.
He's Team Taz Lackey is what he's at.
Yeah, with him wearing a ski outfit. We'll get into that. I was like, what is this? But no, I mean, with NWA, though, I think a lot of the charm, too, with it, for me, was Marquez.
Yes.
And with not having Marquez, and even goddamn fucking Stu Bennett. I fucking love me Wade Bear Stu Bennett on the commentary. They had the best commentary after they got rid of Cornette. You know, no offense. Some people love Jimmy, some people don't. I'm not a fan. But to be quite real, that was a real big one-up when he was on that mic. And I think that's a lot of that steam they had. It went away. You lost LA Knight. You lost, Ricky. You lost James Storm. You lost a lot of these people.
Kingston.
Yeah. And it's hard because, you're like, man, like this, the pandemic kind of killed it a little, but to be honest and everything, and even actually, with the whole Me Too thing and Lagana getting the boot, because Lagana was the one really who had a lot of those ideas and those visions. It was Dave. So, but looking at it though, to be honest, it's like you get an effort to be really honest. Marquez's product is so much better. So, and it's more accessible. So why wouldn't I, as someone who loves independent wrestling and these alternatives, why wouldn't I want to watch that versus something that it's behind a paywall, and the fan base is kind of, why? That ruins it for me. Like, that's why I hate going to Chicago and hate going to AAW, because again, that's a very unwelcoming crowd. Okay. I've had racial slurs thrown at me. I've had a lot of other shit too. And friends of mine too. And, I only, unfortunately, would go to see Colt wrestle because that was his home promotion. And if I'm in Chicago and, or whatever, I'm forced to it. So, I mean, and a lot of people I really liked wrestled for them who are, either signed or whatever. They don't wrestle for them anymore. So, that's a hard one. That's a really hard one. So.
Yeah, I agree. I do think that since the pandemic, Cardona being associated with NWA is the most interested I've been in NWA. And I agree with what he said about, like, if you're trying to bring in new fans, it can be tough. We did a bunch of watch-alongs for NWA. We call it the Happy Hour with 3 R's. Happy Hour, because we watched NWA Power. And the first few episodes were really awkward. We even said, like, this feels weird. But at the end of it, it was like it felt weird because it felt so different. And there was something so refreshing about watching a wrestling show that felt so different. But that is a hurdle you have to get over because different doesn't always feel good.
Mm-mm.
You know, I'm actually not a big fan of the new set. The pink and black thing on the back, it looks to me like a poster board where the other set looked like a TV studio. Like it's
It was
weird,
legit. Yeah, it was legit a TV studio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is like they made it look like a class project. I don't know. It is what
It
it
reminded
is.
me of Glow on Netflix, kind of, sort of.
Yeah. Oh, Lunisa coming through, giving us the subscribe. Thank you, Lunisa. Oh wow, she's got that Wrestling on the Rocks title. She's been how many months is it? It says they've subscribed for 22 months, a 22-month streak.
Holy.
Cheers to Lunisa.
Woohoo!
I was about to say that the Wrestling on the Rocks belt next to her name, I was like, you don't get that till you're a year in, I thought. And so it's like 2 years. Real close to
VIP's up in his house.
Yeah, since day one. So cheers to Lunisa. That's an awesome emoji, too. Little dudes hugging. You probably would like him if you could see him. But yeah.
No, I mean,
Cardona being back, it makes me think something's worth watching, and I got to check it out. Trevor Murdoch being the champ has already had my ears peaked, but going, it's going to be Murdoch versus Cardona, that makes me kind of go, oh. You know?
Yeah. I can't tell you about other things. Like, I can't tell you about, okay, what's going on with their tag team stuff. I don't know. I can't tell you about the women because I really don't know.
I know Allison Kay and Marty Bell are the women's tag champs.
Oh, okay. Oh, they have women's tags now. Okay.
I only knew because I saw that they were the champ, because I was also looking up Allison Kay because I was like, whatever happened to her? Yeah. And the fact that no one's picked her up makes me really question what's going on with her. Like, is she a problem backstage or something? Because, like,
I don't know.
It just seems weird. Someone who's that good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, she's incredible. Her match with Thunder Rosa is the match that turned me around with her and really made me see Thunder Rosa on an elevated level. I was already a fan of her, and I thought she was pretty cool. But then being there at Hard Times and seeing Allison Kay versus Thunder Rosa, I walked away from there going, like, holy shit. Like, these women are a high-level performer at this. Like, I walked away with... I walked into the lobby thinking to myself, I have to get a picture with Thunder Rosa and Allison Kay. Those are the two I need out of this whole thing. Them and Eli Drake at the time were the only ones I had to meet. And then everyone else was just sprinkles on the cupcake, you know?
But I will say I was very spoiled in my early indie days because I got to see Thunder Rosa almost like 2-3 times a month. Yeah. Because, she was in my stomping grounds at the time. Yeah. So, I mean, I've seen, her from pretty much almost the beginnings and shit. It's like, wow. From then to now, it's like, holy shit. And the passion that she has and had from day one even is there today. And it's when people don't lose it like that, I mean, that's something powerful.
Not only did she not lose it, she like stepped it up. She like threw the gas.
Oh yeah, she totally stepped it up. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was really great. It was really great to see that and to hear that too.
I think she's only come through my hometown once or twice, and it was right before she did the NWA thing. And so we saw her face on a poster, and we're like, oh, that's cool. Because we took note of it, because my girlfriend's obsessed with Sugar Skulls. I was like, look, there's this woman luchador, it looks like, who does Sugar Skull face paint. And we both looked at it and was like, maybe we should check it out. And I was like, I don't know. We kind of went back and forth. Didn't end up making it out to the show. And ultimately now it's like she's doing what she's doing, and we're like,
you would have fallen in love with you two would have fallen in love with her if you had gone.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure.
I'm pretty sure. The second I saw her live at NWA, I was like, this is it. She's the one. But did you want to get into the AEW? Oh, Splinter Fox coming through. What up, though, Splinter Fox?
Uh-oh.
I know, he came in just in time for AEW. We just finished talking NWA, GCW. He's going to hear AEW and NXT.
He's probably like...
This is where he's going to lose it.
Yep. His ears were burning. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Yes, they were burning. Holy crap, yeah.
Yep.
I wonder what shit I'm going to get this week from you.
Oh, yeah. We'll see.
I have some hot takes.
You got some hot takes this week? Well, let's talk it. Let's talk AEW. Oh, yeah. It opened up. Or did you want to talk Rampage or YouTube?
Well, okay. You didn't watch any of it, I'm pretty sure.
I didn't watch anything from Rampage or YouTube. I did watch Dynamite.
Okay. I will say on Elevation, there was a match that Hobbs and Starks did. Of course, I have to talk about this. And it was very interesting that it actually was the main event of that show. I could see why it was, but really honestly, no. But it was very, very interesting how, you and I are just, we don't get paid by anybody. Okay.
True.
We don't get paid. We're not influenced by anybody.
I don't even get paid by my job.
Yeah, that's how I feel sometimes. But, we sometimes, there's ears out there, and I always say this. And so it's very interesting that I had called this out. You can go back and watch this, people, that I said, what's going to happen is Ricky's going to be very irritating with that belt. He's going to get to the point where it irritates people. It's going to irritate Taz. It's starting to irritate Hobbs, and you can kind of see it a little bit. And I'm like, I don't write this shit. Okay, so, we're kind of like Nostradamus, but it's happening.
Yeah.
And so you got to kind of, unfortunately, if you're not watching that shit, and this is what's really burning my hide about all the internet shit lately, is the storylines are all in there. They're not relying on BTE. They're not relying on whatever. But some of the bigger storylines they're putting on those two. And I think that it's a real disservice to them. But now I think that because they're putting in Adam Cole, because Adam Cole was on every damn show this last week. Is it necessary? No, I don't think so. But he was on every show. Or his old lady, or the combination of both. Do we need it? No. But if that's what they think makes ratings, then so be it. But you're also taking away from people who you don't use on your main roster. So
yeah, you're burning a lot of time.
Yeah.
Just to fluff his numbers. Do you think they're just trying to get to an Adam Cole? Who's the champion? Page? Do you think they're trying to get to an Adam Cole Hangman Page match, and that's why they're fluffing his numbers so hard?
But they're not there yet. Yeah, they're not there yet.
They're not, but they have to be able to say he's number one contender, oops, on accident. And so they're just going to put him on every show to give him some wins. Although this last Dynamite, he didn't get the win or a number. But they have to build him so they can say, oh, he's number one contender all of a sudden. You know what I mean? Do you think that's what they're trying to do? Page and Cole?
No.
Okay.
I think they're trying to use... I think they're using Cole because that stupid entrance with the boom and the fucking baby... People love that shit. And I think it's in Tony's mind that I think he's just like, he sees that and he sees dollar signs. But in the reality of it, no. This is just things that fans like to do to get themselves over. There's a difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't think we're going to get Page and Cole. I think Hangman's not going to have that title long enough to get that.
Who do you think takes it off Hangman?
I'm really thinking, because they're putting a lot of stock into what's his face, Dan Lambert.
Yeah.
I think that it might end up being Scorpio Sky, maybe.
No way.
Finally.
No way.
But too little, too late, though. See, that's the thing.
They're nowhere near getting Scorpio Sky anywhere near even a title shot. They flubbed with him so bad.
But isn't Archer now part of Dan Lambert's little stable of...
Sure, but I see Lance Archer before I see Scorpio Sky. And for the record, Scorpio Sky's in my top 5 of the whole company of my favorite guys there. I think he's so underutilized. That's not to say there's not a bunch of tremendous talent. He's just been my guy since day one, since Double or Nothing. I was all like, oh shit, this is the dude. Let me hit the chat real quick. Srunovox says, why do we always have to be here when they go talk about NXT? Because we wrap the show up with NXT. You know that, man. Get here early. And then leave early. You know what I mean? You're just here for the drinks.
You're here now.
Yeah, show up for the happy hour, and then you bail. He said, Marsh is under WWE payroll. If it's not WWE, then it sucks. I mean, half of that's definitely true. If it's not WWE, it's pretty terrible. Dude, can you imagine, though, if I got one paycheck with WWE logo on it, that motherfucker would be right here. Right behind me at all times, so people would know WWE gave me $1.
You have to deposit it, the mobile checking and deposit it.
You do the e-deposit so you keep it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It'd be right here. If WWE ever gave
Anyone
me a
would-
dollar.
Anyone would do that. I almost interviewed for a job with WWE.
Yeah.
But I kind of did. They were looking for travel managers,
Ooh.
and I did, but I didn't want to move to Connecticut. So, yeah.
Yeah, that'll do it.
So
Spinfox
that
says, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, that ended the conversation.
Spinfox does say there was a cryptic tweet that Black did about Cole today, which is true. So someone tweeted out almost 4 years ago today, Adam Cole and Malachi Black had a very underrated classic in Philly, and they did have a match in NXT. I think people who are big fans of Adam Cole would agree that it was a really good match. I might not have even seen it if I'm being honest. Adam Cole's not done much for me historically. That's not a knock on him. I understand he's got a huge fan base. People love him. He's just not my cup of tea. But Malachi Black did say one of my personal favorites, and then he said the house will come calling soon enough. I hope the House of Black becomes like NWO.
Yeah.
They just start spitting in everybody's face and they all join. It'd be great.
Well, it's funny because I don't know if you saw this on Dynamite with what's it on Dynamite with Julia was Smart Mark Sterling came out and Jade wants her to do that match and Julia was really the normal. It's happening and I think it's pretty cool. So I'm like really curious to see what's going on. That cryptic pop, that promo, which I thought was fucking bad. I'm into these weird cryptic bullshit. I love that. That's my thing. And then I know we were going to talk about this later, but I got to do it now. Brody King promo. Okay. I love me some Brody King. Watching him for years. Okay. When he cut that, because Brody is not really known for really being on the mic, he's kind of the hype man on the side of the ring, whatever. But that showed a different dimension of Brody King. It was creepy, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, it was cool.
It was really cool. I'm like, I am so here for it. And actually, that would have been a better shirt, Marsh, with it, that black one. But he didn't even heart it because he hearted some stupid like chibi shit. Yeah, it was the people.
The chibi shit.
It was the people who did the chibi shit when I have chibi Ricky.
That's funny.
Can we have a chibi Ricky ass, please? Thank you.
Was it the same person?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she also sells shit on Etsy. But I'm like, this is copyright shit. Because I know there's been 2 wrestlers that have given her a cease and desist. I won't say who. But yeah, you got to be careful when you do some of this shit. There's a fine line.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see.
Yes, I'm all
this
for
is
it.
a mess. Spinner Fox says that Joey Janela made a comment about him saying he needed a figure. I see him making a comment to somebody else who said there shouldn't be a figure, where he said, I guarantee I'd have the best-selling figure of the week if I did have one, underestimating someone who sold out every building with his name attached to it. Piss off, which is a funny comment.
Yeah. No, it's true. Janela,
I do think that the fucking toy line at AEW is such a joke.
It is.
It's 4 or 5 of the same people as was in the previous line and slightly painted differently. They're only creating one figure at a time. And that's the part that annoys me is they're just pumping out so many. They're going to be worthless soon. Like a lot of people are collecting as many as they can and you can flip them for a lot right now. But there's also a ton of stores I've been to where a bunch are on clearance because no one can do anything with them because how many different boxes do you need?
I don't even see them, to be honest. Like I've only seen one Rio in the wild out here.
Rio? I've seen like 4 or 5. Rio's always in my stores. Do you need a Rio?
I don't need any. The ones I need aren't even out yet.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Next wave, the next wave. Because
I thought my first AEW figure was going to be the Blood and Guts Rhodes Brothers figures because that match is still the greatest match they've ever done. Mm-hmm. But it's probably closer to my first one will probably be Thunder Rosa. Here's the other part that's weird, dude. Their pricing for figures is insane. You know the Dark Order series they just released? Mm-hmm. Brody Lee's the most expensive one of the line.
Yeah, of course.
How fucked up is that?
it's not fucked up. It's business because the guy's dead. No offense. The guy's dead. You're going to kick some extra money to the mom and the kids.
So you got to charge more? No.
Yeah.
Charge the same amount. You take less. You take less money. You don't add money on the customer. You take less as a company and give it to the family or to the charity, whatever you want.
You got to remember, these people don't really understand business. They really don't. Not like I do. But
matter of fact, I think every dollar they get on the Dark Order line should definitely go to the Brody Lee family or charity. 100% of those profits, because Dark Order wouldn't even exist without Brody Lee taking it under his wing the way he did.
Exactly.
It's just, to me, it was ridiculous when I saw that they're all out there. They're all the same rarity. They're all everything. But Brody Lee was like $6 more. And I was like, you guys are... That's just not cool, man. That's not cool. It's really clear what you're doing, and it's just kind of shitty. It didn't have to be that way.
And you know what's not cool? Cabana doesn't have one.
Cabana doesn't have one. Janela never got one.
No, but in the Dark Order though.
Oh yeah,
Brody Lee brought him into that damn bullshit. Come on.
Yeah. Let's see. Spinfox says first and foremost, Tony Khan needs to get the hell off CM Punk and Bryan and Cole. Cole's great, but still he needs to bring up the new younger talent. I can agree with that. He goes, I can't find a Lance Archer figure. If you need a Lance Archer figure, dude, I'm sure I could track one down. They're around. He goes, all I see is Riho, MJF, and Jake Hager, which is true. I see a ton of those. Actually, like the Targets in my neighborhood, they all have a lot of them.
Target hasn't had hardly shit around me.
Really?
I've only seen Rio, and then I saw Ortiz and Santana once. I've
seen almost all of them. I always look to see if they have the chase, because the chase I'll grab and flip. But yeah, I've seen almost everyone else.
If you see Jungle Boy on clearance, can you snag one?
Who?
Jungle Boy.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen him.
I need to put him next to my Dylan McKay doll.
Oh yeah, it'd be great. Spinfox says that he says that's ringside collectibles hiking the prices up, which I to be devil's advocate for sure, I could definitely see them being the ones that play, but still, what a dick move. And it says GameStop sells them for $18.98. That is not AEW's fault. That's Ringside as being scalpers. Potentially, but they have some sort of deal with Ringside, so fucking put them over the coals, man. Tell them you won't do this to our fan base. We're still a young company that's trying to figure it out. Like, AEW's got more pull with Ringside than they do with TNT. I'll tell you that. And to be honest, a lot of like I said, I've seen a lot of their toys on clearance out here. You can get a lot of them for like $10. He said his 10 doesn't have one. He goes, the big ass stupid Cody figure. He sees all the time. Hike the WWE prices too. Yeah, depending on the figure for WWE, they'll hike it up. But back on track. The Malachi Black stuff, House of Black stuff. I thought they were doing a really good job with it. Do you want to talk a little about the opening match, Cody and Sammy?
Yeah, let's talk about that.
So, I was really distracted, and I'm going to be real nice about it. But Paul Turner was in the ring the whole match. And I kept going, why the fuck is he in the ring? It's a ladder match. He can't call anything. He can't disqualify anybody. He's in the way. And there was a bunch of times where he was legitimately in the way. Like, Cody was Irish whipped into the corner, and Paul Turner had to, like, jump out of the way, got nicked, and Cody had to, like, double stop and still do his spot, right?
Yeah.
As the match went on, it became pretty apparent to me that the only reason that they left the ref in the ring was so he could anchor the ladders. And position the ladders, because they wanted the spots they wanted. They knew the spots they were going to do. So it was annoying that it was a bit choreographed and a bit telegraphed in that way. But at the same time, I'm not going to complain too much. All I'll say is I was distracted and it was annoying. However, I understand that the real reason behind it was strictly safety. We want to do this thing, and we don't know if we can do it. So we need the ref to help us to make it happen.
Yeah.
I don't love the idea of doing it that way, but I do prefer the idea of the talent being safe at the end of the match. So I won't harp on it. I'm not going to rant on it. But it was very distracting to me to see a ref in the way so much, because it's a tough match to be in the ring for. There's ladders in there. There's people jumping from weird angles. Like, if you think it's hard enough trying to figure out where to be and importantly not be when you're a referee, add furniture into the mix. Then it becomes really difficult to know where you're supposed to be and where they're coming from. So hats off to Paul Turner for doing the best he could in that situation and keeping the guys safe. You did what you had to do. But otherwise, the match, what'd you think, Amanda?
Well, okay, I'll talk about senior official Paul Turner. I love Paul Turner, not gonna lie. I'm really glad that he got his due when he left Ring of Honor, because I always thought that he was the better of the better of all of the referees at Ring of Honor. Everyone loves Todd Sinclair, but you know what? Todd would botch a lot of bullshit up and whatnot. And I know that the Bucks put a lot of trust into Paul Turner, as did a lot of people on the AEW roster and other people that worked with him, because he was the one all in who was the senior official on that one. And people are like, well, why wasn't Nas? I'm like, no. I said there's a reason. There's a reason for with some things why people are in positions for. But I get it, because Sammy is not traditionally a very safe worker. He injures himself a lot, gets injured, injures people. Cody, you know, I don't know how many ladder matches the guy's ever done in his career, but when you're also working with an element of a person that, you know, can be kind of reckless sometimes, and is like one concussion away from ending his young career, that, you know, that you need to really be safe. So I wasn't shocked. At first I was like, why is Paul in the damn ring? He's gonna get clobbered somehow, or unless that's part of the storyline. But then I kind of was understanding when I would see what he was doing, and I'm like, okay, I kind of get it.
The more they did stuff, the more he was actively interacting with the ladders.
Yeah, and then I thought the one ladder Cody had put on the guardrail by the fan, that had to been a plant, because if I were a fan, I'd been all, get this shit out of my face, because if that thing hits me in the face, I'm gonna own your company, Tony Khan.
Oh yeah, I'd be sitting right over it.
Oh yeah.
I'd be waiting for it. I'd be like leaning closed eyes and being like, I'm just giving my nightly prayers like I always do, just waiting for that thing to come hit me in the chin. You know what I mean? Because not only will it happen, will I sue, but you're gonna have it on national TV. It's gonna be open and closed.
Oh yeah, not only that, but I would own it and I would fire Tony. That would be my first move.
Oh,
My second move. My second move would probably be, I'm like, we're gonna renegotiate everybody's contract. I don't give a fuck who EVP you are. We're gonna go through all of these goddamn motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Yep. We're gonna take belts off people. Yep.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I'd clean house.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I did think, I mean, kudos to Cody Rhodes for taking that cutter off the ladder. I was all like,
Jesus, that was, oh God. I was like, oh my God. I'm like, I just was like, holy fuck, dude.
Now, to be fair, though, a cutter off the ladder is more likely to hurt Sammy than Cody, because Cody's jumping off the ladder and landing flat. He just has to land flat, and you can even see as he's falling, he has his arms across Sammy to force Sammy down. Sammy has to land flat, because if he lands on his side, he'll break his clavicle. Just because if you hit your shoulder, it'll compress too hard. So Sammy has to land flat, and he's going to have a harder time doing that, falling from so high, where Cody just has to face plant, and it's so much easier. So part of me was like, kudos to Cody, but also smart move by Cody being like, if you want to do something to me off the top, it's going to be specific, because I was like, I don't know if I'd be trusting Sammy to give me a cutter.
Nope.
I do think this was a really funny comment I just want to throw out there, though. I saw online where someone said, Randy Orton been in the biz 25 years, but I've never seen him do a cutter this good off that ladder. And someone replied to it, that's why Randy still looks and moves like Randy at 41. Like, and you're just like, if we're to believe bump cards are limited, Randy being safe for so long is why Randy saying, I think I might be done in another 9 years, is a conversation you can believe.
Yeah.
Where there's a lot of guys who do stuff like this. Like, I mean, it's no wonder Jeff and Matt Hardy don't move the way that Mysterio does. I mean, Mysterio didn't do moves like that. He spun a lot, but it wasn't all the ladders and chairs and tables. Like, that takes a toll. ironically enough, I've been listening back to a ton of old like Pro Wrestling Spotlight and stuff, and you can hear interviews where people talk about the British Bulldogs, not Davy Boy. Who's the other Bulldog? Was
Dynamite Kid?
Yeah, and you can hear them talk about him, and they say this kid's incredible. He's doing amazing bumps like you've never seen. They said it's incredible, but one day he'll be in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to hear that because you go, what the fuck are they, like, assholes, right? Saying shit like that. But then you go, oh shit, he did. Because that stuff does pile on. And so it's one of those things where it's all like, yeah, Randy never did this because Randy would never do this because Randy wants to wrestle till he's 50.
Yeah.
I don't know if Sammy wants to wrestle till he's 50. I'm not saying he does or he doesn't.
Well,
he didn't hurt himself. He's good.
Sammy almost didn't wrestle, like, this year. I mean, he's had so many injuries. Like, you sit there, he said on something, when you look at his head, the back of his head, he's like, my back of my head looks like a road map because of all the stitches and scars and everything. And I'm like, fuck, dude. Like, you know, I mean, I don't know. There's some people who have, I think, really kind of toned down their style as far as the flippy shit goes. Again, another person I was going to say Ocean Spray, yes.
Yeah.
But I'd rather him end his career early because then I don't have to see his fucking face anymore. But anyways. Yeah. Okay. People. Okay. I just want to put this in the ether. I know it's a little off topic. But guys, okay, when you tag me and Will Ospreay, he has me blocked. He's blocked me years ago. So he ain't going to see any of this. So, you know.
No. Yeah. Get it out.
It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Not worth it. Do it in person. Tell him, you know, Amanda, the Marty girl. And he'll go, oh, God, yeah.
Yeah. Spin Fox does say, I really thought bitch-ass Sammy was going to break his back in half with that swan dive on Cody. Jeremy in time says, not to mention the swanton off the ladder. Because the ladder not breaking Sammy looked like he broke his back. Yeah, I was watching that. And at first, the first angle, I thought that Sammy just barely nicked Cody, and that's why he didn't hit. On the replay from above, he fucking went down on him and bounced back up. And I thought, fuck that, dude. Like, he did not have enough weight, or they didn't gimmick the ladder at all, or something. Like, I don't know everything. I don't understand contracts. I don't understand what these people do. But I do know that that fucking had to hurt. That cost him a couple months of his career on the back end. You know what I mean?
Well, you know, there were a couple of moves. I don't know what they were, but the way he landed on some of the ladders, Sammy, I was like, Jesus Christ, you don't have a spleen anymore. You probably have bruised like kidneys or something because Jesus Christ, like the way he would land. And I know when you're landing on that little part of the, I don't know if there's a technical name for it, but on the ladder, the little part that, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, whatever you call it. That's really got hurt. And I would think that if you hit it with enough force, it would probably, it could pierce your back or pierce any body part. And I'm shocked that didn't happen because of the, you know, the physics of things. But again, I do Asian math and it's not very good. So I don't know.
You know who if I was going to be in a ladder match, you know who I would ask? For tips and advice? I would 100% ask Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens.
Yeah.
Because those two dudes have been in more ladder matches than I can think of. And they're both going strong now. Years later.
Yes, absolutely.
Because even more so than the Hardy Brothers and the Dudleys and even Edge and Christian came back down the line. But Kevin and Sammy have kept going and still continue to do ladder matches. Matter of fact, the ladder match with Sammy 2 years ago, Clash of Champions with AJ and Jeff Hardy, was probably my favorite ladder match to date.
Oh, yeah.
How are they able to get away with doing this stuff where it definitely you could see it taking a toll on these other guys for over and over again?
Yeah.
Those are the guys I would ask. But
and especially Sammy, you know, Sammy used to do some crazy ass shit, you know?
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Yeah. And
with Kevin, even some of those, you know, some of those matches, like that one he had with Roman where it was, you know, false count anywhere or whatever the hell. And, you know, you're doing shit off of like a tractor or whatever the hell that thing with the lift. Yeah. I mean, shit. You know, I agree. Those are two that I would definitely say, I'll do a ladder match with you.
Yeah.
And, you know, I hate saying this, but, you know, when you have people who aren't very seasoned in a ladder match, okay, comes to mind was the main event at Madison Square Garden. Jay Lethal, the triple set, Jay Lethal, Matt Taven, and Marty Scurll. Marty does not do ladder matches. Scared of heights. You could see the fear on him at some of these times, the way he held the ladder and was shaking. And I'm like, oh God, this is not good. No. And then Lethal, again, that's another person who did not look very comfortable on the ladder. Same with Matt Taven. I'm like, why the hell are you guys doing the ladders then? You know? Is that the only way you can win Matt Taven? But anyways, I digress. But yes, you want to be in there with people that are safe. And I thought that was a very weird combination of Sammy and Cody, because Sammy is known for, you know, he gets injured quite a bit on these things. His flippy floppy shit is not consistent. That's why I don't like him. And I'm like, tone it down, dude, because it's not always consistent. You know, if you're doing it consistently, yeah, you know, like a person like, let's say Kushida. Kushida is one of those flippy guys that is very consistent. But if you notice, when I notice, we'll get back into NXT later, he's calmed it down a little bit. He's toned it way down.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's what those guys do now. Even Leo Rush, he's toned that shit down.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
That's true. That is true. What do you think about them getting the title back on Sammy, not on Cody?
I was kind of shocked.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I didn't think it was going to go that way because never goes that way. It's always Cody's. That's why he gets booed. So I think a lot of people probably were really enjoyous of that Cody didn't get it. But, you know, it's not going to turn him heel if that's what people are thinking. Absolutely not. That's not going to be that's not going to do it. And he won't. You can get the heat, but he's not going to do that. But then again, I don't think going back to Cardona, I don't think he ever really wanted to be heel. But now, that heat, I don't know if when he was in WWE, but I don't know if that's true. Yeah.
In WWE, I could see that, but being on the Indies, I don't see him having another path. But also, it could have been that simple, where he just didn't see a secondary path. How could I be a babyface on the Indies? Might have been an impossible question. Maybe it could have been like, I could really be a heel on the Indies. Like, it was just maybe circumstantial, you know?
If he had been released probably around the first time Myers got released back in like when WrestleMania was in like San Jose. I don't remember what number. I don't know what numbers they are, but because there was a big joke at that thing where Hulk Hogan did an after show and it was a game show, and one of the questions was, and there was the coolest Sami Zayn cosplayer I'd ever seen in my life. He looked exactly like Sami Zayn. Everybody thought it was him. Even the guys, they were like, wait a minute. But they did a Family Feud, and one of the questions was, you know, he surveyed 100 different indie wrestling fans. Who is the most likely WWE person that we'll see next year at WrestleCon? And the Sami Zayn was up, and he was like, Zack Ryder. That was the answer. And everyone was just dying. And Brian Myers was there. This is when, you know, he was already released. And he's like, hold on, we need to do this again. He said, because he's going to like master trip over this. So they recorded it again, and it was hilarious. And then at the end of it, grabbed the phone and was like, so I guess this means we're going to see you next year, Cardona, in Dallas. And it was hilarious. But he never got fired. And so that was the big joke of it. And he's like, I think I jinxed him. That game jinxed him. He was, you know, he got stuck in WWE the longest time, not doing anything. So it was really kind of funny. But with Cardona, when he was there, now all of a sudden it's like he could have been a babyface if he was let go early.
You're right.
Because he also that wave of the Z True Long Island story, kind of, sorta.
I think also when you kind of mention it that way, every single person who's been released by WWE who's shown up somewhere else has been a babyface because they got out. They're free now. All that stupid nomenclature people use who don't know what prison's like. Or have, like they all do that same thing. They get the big pops because it's like, oh my God, they're free now. They do this, so they get the big reaction. Matt Cardona, I think, is smart enough to have seen what that's fared like for all those talents. Very few of them are able to ride that babyface train for that long.
Yeah.
He might just be so smart that he goes, well, what if I just don't be the guy who talks shit? What if I'm the guy who says nice things about that company and tell all the indie fans their marks and sell out fucking houses because they hate me? Like, yeah. So smart, dude. I want to meet him so bad. He's on the top.
Yeah. He should have done that with his run in AEW. Instead of them making him a baby, he should have done that.
I don't think his AEW run had a lot to do with him, if I'm being honest. Let's see. I'm going to hit the chat real quick. There's a few things going on here. Greenber says, hello. La, la, la. That's what he does. Grim Reaper, if you want to be in the Royal Raffle, let me know. There's only like 1 or 2 spots left. Fox says, you had a really good critique here, which I think is smart because a lot of fans, especially of the AEW product, are not willing to give it an honest critique at times. And here Splinter Fox is being actually open to criticism. Not from us, but from himself, internal criticism. He goes, I love AEW and all, but they're doing too many gimmick matches so close together. They need to chill out with the gimmick matches as well as the debuts. Everybody's been expecting people to debut every single time. And I agree 100%. I know that Paul Heyman's gone on record and said one of the issues he had with ECW, and one of the reasons it didn't grow to a certain point, was that they had built an expectation amongst the fans that they had to have a big debut on every pay-per-view, and it got harder and harder to beat that, to the point where when they stopped having it, people stopped thinking they were getting what they wanted. You know what I mean? So I agree. They need to chill with that stuff. I think they have too many battle royals. They have too many ladder matches. I think part of the problem is, though, realistically, maybe the gimmick matches look more like than what they are because none of their matches seem to have many rules to begin with. So I don't know. To me, it's just all kind of muddy that way. They need to really hunker down, have some disqualifications to say that rules matter for a reason. They have not established one time in any match in 3 years that a single rule has ever mattered.
Nope.
You know? It's never been established. Do rules matter here? We've never seen it matter. They might, but we've never seen it matter. Greenberg says... Go ahead.
I was going to say about the debuts. Shout out to all of those people who thought that Johnny Wrestling was going to debut in Cleveland. Big motherfucking fuck you to you. It was Danhausen. Yeah. Anyways,
that was funny.
I was on the floor rolling when I saw that. I'm like,
Greenberg says, well, Cody lost because he's going to be in the Rumble on Sunday. Yeah, I'd love that. I would love it. Spinnerbox says, I really think Cody is going to be in the Rumble with his interview he had after the match that was on AEW's YouTube, or B, he will stay off contract to, quote, to get the AEW title, which will cause an uproar. Rumor has it they're getting tired of Cody's shit in the back, and the fans hate him so much as well. You know, Tony Khan needs to sign Willow. She's all right. She's in MLW, right? I saw her in a match with Holodad.
Maybe.
Yeah, she's all right.
But MLW is weird.
She'll get there.
But we don't know anything.
That's true. I mean, they might not even be full-time contracts there. Street Fox says Matt will be NW champion. I don't think he will, but it wouldn't be bad if he was. Green Bull will join the raffle. Spinner Fox says Tony Khan needs to get advice from Paul White and Mark Henry. Johnny is a WWE homer. He's going back to that shit show. No, he's not. They don't want him back. They don't need him.
No.
But yeah, Danhausen got signed. That was cool.
Yeah.
It was really exciting for Danhausen.
I don't get Danhausen. Can anyone please explain Danhausen to me?
So I'm going to explain it in the best way I can, and I don't know if it's going to make you like him. Because I'm going to be honest. I don't love his gimmick. I'm not particularly enthralled with his in-ring stuff. But I have a ton of respect for that guy. Huh?
What is this gimmick? I don't get it.
So he's stated in a number of occasions that more or less it's a Conan O'Brien character. It's based off Conan O'Brien. If Conan O'Brien was a creepy clown, kind of a carny style clown, that's kind of what the gimmick is. Everything he does is based off of reality. It's based off of a person who doesn't understand what's going on around him to a degree, but he knows he wants money. He knows he wants success, right? That's why he's always saying he wants a blimp. It's why he actually pours teeth into people's mouth, is because it's a gross out factor, but it's not technically illegal because you already have teeth in your mouth. So if you pour someone's teeth into somebody else's mouth, you're not adding something that's not already there. They're not using a foreign object necessarily. They already have teeth. So unless it's illegal to have teeth in your mouth, there's no reason to disqualify him. He doesn't like cursing because it can prevent you from being on national TV, and he wants to make the money he can get for being on TV. So that's why the whole no cursing thing is a thing.
No swearhousing or whatever.
Yep, no swearing. It's just this crazy kind of Conan O'Brien based character that is out to be successful and make money, and wrestling is the way he's doing that, which is in a way very similar to the old Ric Flair character. He's doing it for the money, for the success.
Yeah.
Danhausen has a goofy way of talking about it because he's a Conan O'Brien based character, so it comes off kind of goofy. All that in mind, the dude's work ethic isn't crazy, is absolutely insane. He's putting forth so much effort. He pays his artists to do things. He's front rows in the chat. He says Danhausen is wildly creative. Happy for him to get a bigger spotlight. 100%. Seeing him get signed by a bigger company, seeing him get signed by ROH was super exciting for me, to see a dude who's been working that hard to make this thing happen work. Whether or not I love every minute of it is irrelevant to my happiness for his success. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, that makes sense. That makes sense. I just didn't understand the appeal. And I don't know.
I'll tell you, my girlfriend likes him a lot.
Okay.
Producer lady really likes Danhausen because she loves Conan O'Brien. And so she heard him do an interview. He got on the Conan O'Brien podcast because Conan O'Brien was doing a podcast for a while where he would let a fan come on. And Danhausen got to be one of those fans. And he came on out of character and talked about himself and what he does and who his character is. And she just absolutely adored it. She's got Danhausen socks. She thinks he's the greatest. However, his character in and of itself kind of annoys her, where if he does an interview strictly in character, she can't finish it. She goes, I can't do this. But just him being out there, him being like a Conan guy, all that stuff is enough for her. She loves it. And I get all that. You know what I mean? Like,
I think you two need to go on the next cruise because he's going to be on it.
Well, the cruise was fucking suspended for 2 years or some shit.
No, not 2 years. They're doing it next year.
All right.
A year from now. And a year from now. I mean, because you can go super cheap. I mean, I'm breaking off rooms. So my friend, it's her birthday weekend. She said something to me. I'm like, girl, you do you. I'll get my own room. It's okay. About this last time. No worries. I'm hardly ever in the room anyway. Besides, I'll make my money back at the casino because I sure did this last time and it's first time too. So
nice.
Yeah, I went like fucking $800 and Nicole was like, really? Well, I go, you're leaving the casino, dude. I'm not showing you what machine. You're not gonna sit on rob my money. It was the last night and he was leaving and he made a beeline to me and I'm like, yeah, no, you're not sitting. Because I went to go cash the slip thingy because it wasn't one of those ones where they can pay you.
Oh yeah.
I was like, let me cash it because I don't want to use it and it go from $900 to zero. So but anyways, but no, apparently Ocean Spray is gonna be on it too, but I don't fucking care. He's gonna drown. I'm not gonna do it, but someone else will. Not me.
Front row says one of the few people who built a ton of equity during the pandemic. That was true too. Part of what people love about Danhausen is that he's staying in character most of the time. He's committed to the character and he's funny to follow because he's just
weird. He's
like a SpongeBob. Maybe that's part of why people like him and I don't, is I've never liked SpongeBob because SpongeBob was a random humor. You know what I mean? The idea of being funny because you're dumb or confused is not the greatest baseline for humor to me. But it's kind of what he's doing. He calls AEW A&W, and he applied to an A&W root beer shop, and he calls CM Punk Pepsi guy. You know what I mean? Like Pepsi man. Like he does stuff like that. And so it's clever. It's funny. It's like, hey, how can I confuse something that somebody already knows what it is? Like, I get it. It's not my humor, but I respect a lot of that stuff. Oh yeah, he calls the gun club the ass boys.
Yeah, well, everyone, because they got it on the boat. But I will say this, Pepsi does suck. Definitely. I only have this because my mom, when we were at the store, when I took her to the store, she was like, oh, okay, let's get Coke, because Coke was the better sell. Buy two, get two free. They didn't have like any of like the Fanta or any of the other drinks. They only had Coke and Diet, no Sprite. They were out of Sprite, out of everything else. But she was like, oh, I want orange soda really bad. And she goes, oh, and she picks up the Sunkist ones. And I'm like, that's Pepsi brand.
Yeah.
And she goes, oh, and I go, yeah, because I was going to split it off of her and take the two Cokes and she'd take two Fantas, whatever. So I get stuck with this bullshit. Okay. Yeah. I got the real sugar one. It's gross. It's gross.
Fair enough. But all I'd say, it's really cool to see a guy like Danhausen who puts that much effort into what he's doing, have it pay off. That's always great. And he seems like a really nice dude. I've only heard great things about people who've had interactions with him. Super exciting. And that's the other thing I find weird about the IWC. They can't just be happy for a dude. A lot of the IWC is like shitting on Danhausen. They don't get him. They don't like him. He's not funny, this and that. Look, I'm not a big fan of the character overall, but I'm really happy for the guy who's doing it. Like, is that not enough? Is that not okay? Can we just not say, how awesome is it for this dude who's worked his ass off?
Yeah.
And is a really good dude to find a place where he can be that niche?
Yeah.
Like, that's fucking fantastic. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But for me, I'm not doing it to shit on him. I just never understood it because...
Oh, yeah. I'm not saying
you know, like, like for me, like even on the boat when he was there, I was like, I don't get this. And no one could really explain it to me. So you did a very good job explaining it because I was like, really? Conan O'Brien? It makes sense now that you've said that. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, he's doing kind of, and especially the more you watch Conan, you'll see him doing the Conan things. This is a Conan maneuver.
Yeah. Now that you had mentioned, I was thinking that, and I'm like, definitely Conan.
Yeah,
I think he's ginger too, like Conan. Maybe. I think he might. I know
he's definitely Team Coco.
I don't know. All I know is I saw him without the gimmick on, and I was like, I think that's him. But I'm like, I'm not, I'm not sitting there like, oh my God, that's him,
Front Row's in the chat again. He says he's really nice. I spent time with him out of character. Thumbs up. Yeah, I've only heard that he's nice. Even when you saw him on the cruise, you didn't say that you heard him being a dick or nothing.
No, everyone. Now, a lot of people, what I was shocked by, really respected that, they weren't like taking pictures with him when he was not in his character, but he would talk to you, but no picture houses and shit like that. And people were cool with it because sometimes indie wrestling fans, they're not, entitlement. So
yeah.
But yeah.
If I were to meet a dude like him, like a wrestling guy who had the face paint, goes, I don't want to do it without the face paint, I would ask if we get a picture of just our hands doing like this maneuver below our waist. So I could be, could we at least get some free punches out of it?
Yeah.
Front row says some of the biggest stars in wrestling had great characters and were just okay in the ring. 100%. I would venture to say, as much as I don't enjoy a lot of the comedy stuff in general, I do think Danhausen as a technical wrestler is actually pretty fucking good. He adds so much comedy into his matches that I kind of go, okay, he's doing his thing. But he's actually fantastic. Before he had the face paint on, he was just like a catch wrestler. Just doing badass stuff, but nobody cared. So he started adding face paint and people started getting interested. So he just went more and more into it. There's actually, if you listen to Pro Wrestling for Life, if you go back and find the episode that X-Pac had with Danhausen, it was a fantastic breakdown of the character. So, but yeah, I actually think he's much better in the ring than he would get credit for normally, to be honest. It's one of the things I wish I saw more of, to be honest. But again, I'm excited for him.
Yeah, I mean, You know, now you have me looking because when you said, oh, he used to catch wrestle, I'm like, oh, I wonder if he's ever wrestled Danhausen and Cole.
It's possible. He didn't go by Danhausen for a long time. Danhausen's his last name, and he moved it over. So we'd have to look it up, dig into it a little bit. Sprinter Fox in the chat talking shit on Flip. Wasn't Flip Gordon in a match this past weekend? I saw him in a triple threat.
That was the weekend before. It was an event in New York that he was in with Bandito and Penta.
Yes.
Yeah, don't shit on. Okay. This is what I hate about the IWC. They shit on Flip Gordon. Okay, because I'm sorry that Flip Gordon is dingy. Okay, I've known Flip a very long time. Okay, he's kind of dingy. Means well, not the sharpest tool in the shed. Okay. He'll even tell you that. He will tell you that. Okay. Now,
the Forrest Gump of wrestling.
Yeah, but he's very.
I might not be a smart man, but I know what Flips is.
Yeah, I know what a Canadian destroyer is. No, but he's very proud of his military service. For those liberals, those left, leaning people. Yeah, he's from a red state. He's from Montana. Okay. And what some people don't know is, did you know the guy is part Hispanic? Hi. Yeah. Not going to get into, real names and shit, but he is. I've actually met part of his family, like the first time I ever saw him in person wrestle. The Defy, we had this whole thing that we did, and totally nice. And, people give him shit. So please don't give Flip Gordon shit. He's actually a really talented kid, really nice guy, and not always there. So
he was a trainer out here in one of the companies. He trained out here in Tucson for a while.
You were telling me that.
Everyone I know who trained with him talked about how nice he was.
Yeah, and shout out to my friend Priscilla, who actually went and saw him wrestle this weekend. And she called me and she goes, "Hey, someone wants to talk to you." It's Flip. So we had a little conversation. It was really nice. I haven't seen him in a long time. So that was nice. I've heard you. Well, I mean, I saw him at NWA, but he had to leave because there was Final Battle they were doing or whatever.
He was the only one on that whole show that has not signed my turn pad. And I've thought about next time he comes to Tucson getting sign that turnbuckle because
I'll get that for you.
Well, because he's the turn pad that I got at Hard to Kill signed by every single person on the show, except for the surprise guests who were Marty and Brody and Flip. Yeah. I got Marty and Brody to sign it, but Flip was already gone by the time.
Yeah, no, I'll get you Flip. Even if you don't, I'll tell you. We're trying to get him out here in San Francisco. He hasn't been out in San Francisco in a long time, so he's like, I missed it out there. I'm like, yeah. So, because he wrestled out here a lot, so
although Spinner Fox says, "I'm not shitting on the guy. I'm just trolling Amanda and her faves." It's funny.
It's not that he's
isolated from being shit on though.
No. You can shit on everybody. I mean, I don't care. There are two people. There's only one you can't shit on. Okay, unless I'm mad at him. Oh. That's Cabana. Unless I'm mad at him, and then you can shit on him all you want. But no, I'm not. No.
Front row says Marsh isn't allowed to get signatures anymore. Signatures I can get. It's just not items.
Yeah.
I want that fucking Matt Cardona shirt. His Fuck McFoley shirt. I want that shirt so bad.
Was he auctioning it?
No, I don't think he was. But I'm going to see if I can't reach out to everybody I know and see if I can't get somebody to get me that goddamn shirt. Because I'll put it right the fuck where that McFoley blazer was supposed to go. Because I have this huge shirt frame. I'll put it right in there, front and center. I'll even put that fucking Socko in there too.
Yeah, fuck McFoley. Yeah, see, fuck the guy.
Funny.
I remember the story you told me. Fuck him. That's a good one. I need to frame my Colt Cabana ring jacket, but it's odd because Okay, talk about people who are not smart. A couple things missing from the shed. Cabana decides, because he gifted me one for Christmas one year. Totally was like shocked. Got it. And when I saw him the next time, because he didn't sign it, I was like, you got to sign it for me because I'm going to put it in, one of the things, right?
Yeah.
And so what does he do? Dingbat takes a silver pen, silver Sharpie, signs the inside. I'm like, Are you moron? What the fuck, dude? I can't. Yeah. I'm
A lot of people do that. I've seen that a bunch with people who get ring gear stuff. A lot of lucha masks that were ring worn are signed inside the mask. I agree with you. Where for me, for my display purposes, I don't want it on the inside. I want it on the outside.
No, and especially because the jacket that he gave me is a very iconic Colt Cabana jacket.
Yeah.
And it did piss off quite a few people.
Well, that's what you do, Amanda.
Yeah. And I'm like, well, dude, like, you could have signed it on the front. You could have signed it on the back, because people know what it is. I already bought the picture that they used to sell on pro wrestling tees because it was the one that it was the black one he had that said professional wrestler on the back of it, and he wore it in the Wrestling Road Diaries 3.
Oh, nice.
And so they used to sell pictures of him. It was a beautiful photo. I don't know who took the photo. That were black and white that they used to sell pro wrestling tees. So Ryan Barkin sent me one because he found, of course, I told him that he sent me a jacket. And Barkin was like, which one? And he said, that one. So they sent me the photo. So I had it already, but bastard. Yep. He's like, well, I'll sign the outside now. And I'm like, no, I'm not dragging that shit to a show. No, especially because I have to take it somewhere.
Worth it. I've dragged a lot of shit to shows I wish I hadn't, but still. You know what I did actually at Rumble, and then we'll get back on track here? I have a shirt signed, a referee shirt signed by Tommy Young. And I took it with me with some markers because I was like, if I run into any of these badass refs, like John Cone, or I'm trying to think who else was. I think Mike Chioda was still there at the time. Charles Robinson, obviously. I even would throw Jessica Carr in the mix there because she was the first full-time woman ref there. I was like, if I run into any of them, I'm having them sign this shirt because I want that shirt to eventually get signed by a bunch of like iconic refs to me. I had it with me all the time, and then one night after Rumble, I put it in the car and said, "Well, at this point, we're not going to run into anybody."
Oh no!
Literally walking back towards the car, John Cone walked by, and I couldn't help myself, and I went, "Holy shit, it's John Cone!" And he looked over, smiled at me, and said, "Have a good night, man." And I was like, "I love you." And he's like, "Yeah." He just kind of, because he kind of smiled and kept walking, but then he stopped, kind of, and like turned back and was all like,
wait,
thanks. Wait. Well, but he was acknowledging me, like he took a pause to go ahead and say, "Hey, it was good," because like I'm sure guys like John Cone don't get recognized that way.
No.
You know what I mean? So for me, I was like, oh my God, there goes John Cone. And in my mind, I was like, my fucking ref shirt is 20 yards that way.
Oh, you're like, can I make it? Can I do that? That run of, Yeah, no. See, I only run for safety, or if there was something like that was made important, I will run. Sorry.
My dad said that to a doctor once. My dad just had weight issues. At one point, the doctor said, "Can you even run?" He said, "Downhill."
Downhill or for safety.
Yeah.
That's the only time.
Well, let's wrap up some of the AEW stuff. There's really only two other things on here that I thought were super. I mean, to be honest, I don't even know if it's really that notable because you talked about Danhausen. I was going to talk about the Lights Out match some, but there's really nothing in there that was
boring.
It was goofy, weird. So here's the deal. I've never been a big fan of Adam Cole. I've always been very clear on that.
Yeah.
Even I am still surprised and shocked at how Adam Cole is being used in AEW. Because I'm all like, I know I've never been a big fan. I know I've always criticized his size. But the fact it's happening in AEW is baffling to me because it's clearly obvious how you can do it. It's been done a year ago. You know what I mean? Like.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But. Go ahead. Anything you want to say on the match? Then we'll go to the thing.
Yeah. It was not that great. It could have been put on another part of the card and had Cody and Sammy main event that. I think that's probably what should have happened, but whatever. I also thought the one thing that I took out of it that I actually really enjoyed and got excited for, it better happen, was where Punky Vice came out and beat the shit out of the fucking young. I was like, ah!
Yeah.
Okay. We're not going to fangirl again. Okay, but I better get that. I better. Yep. I feel cheated out of it. Because Punky Vice. Trent needs to break away from the best friends. Let them do all that bullshit. Fucking Rocky Romero. Punky fucking Vice. That's all I got to say.
Yep.
Yeah. That's all I got to say.
The other thing I want to talk about actually was the CM Punk interview. I know I've been really critical of CM Punk, and that's not going to change today.
Mm-hmm.
But I've also been really critical of MJF and said that he's cut a lot of promos that to me were pretty cookie cutter, pretty surface value, easy heat, cheap pops. Your wife's a slut, your mom's a slut, everybody's a hoe. I even thought his deal on, first off, who uses Facebook? He uses Facebook, apparently. He posted a Facebook thing about Miz, had a picture of Maurice with the security and backstage and said, oh, the only thing missing from here is a Brazzers logo. And I was like, oh, clever, your wife's a slut. Let's keep doing that because that's clever heat. Let's use his wife that way. Let's degrade a woman instead of degrade your opponent, potentially, right? So I wasn't a fan of that. I thought it was stupid and cheap. Low class, low brow, not clever, right? All that to say, this promo he actually cut on Punk, this time, was the first time that I've heard MJF cut a promo that made me go, oh, this guy's got something. He can dig deep. Because every other promo was always something surface level and easy. This is one where he not only talked about CM Punk leaving, he talked about the dates, the times, the places. He talked about the suing. He talked about the high and mightiness that is the CM Punk ego. He was tearing down CM Punk in a way that only dudes like me who have not been a CM Punk fan, I think, can truly appreciate what he's saying. You know what I mean? Because, like, a lot of CM Punk fans are like, boo, that's not true. But a lot of us who are CM Punk detractors, I would say, because, you know, and like I've said before, whether or not I'm a fan of CM Punk should make no difference to CM Punk as a human being. It makes no difference to him, and it shouldn't. I'm not saying I'm important because of, or I'm better than because of. I'm just part of the fan base, and I ingest what I see on TV, like everybody else. And for me, I've never been a big fan. And my personal narrative was CM Punk ran away from wrestling when it got too hard and never came back because he couldn't outdo guys like Cena. It wasn't that Cena was chosen. It was that he could never be better than. That's how it looked like to me. So to hear MJF cut a promo on him that was very similar, you're willing to turn your back on the fans. You've done it before. You'll do it again. You turned your back on the business because the company was too difficult. All that stuff. To hear MJF say it, I was like, holy shit. MJF's a baby face in my house. But this was like ultra impressive where all these teasers of MJF saying a good line here and there, I felt like culminated in this promo where I feel like you could see it on CM Punk's face where he knew that he couldn't say anything back. And everything CM Punk said back was so fucking campy. CM Punk is everything he hated about Cena. He is it. Whether he wants to acknowledge it or not, but being like, I got back up. Like all the tough people here in Cincinnati. And all the tough people in Chicago. Like, he's literally in a Mick Foley masterclass of cheap pops. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was blown away by this one. This was one where I actually had headphones on while I was watching Dynamite. And I was doing some editing. And I heard a few lines that MJF said. And I went, what? And then I moved one of my headphones over because I had the big set on. I moved one over and I'm listening. I was like, holy shit. And then I just took my headphones off, paused what I was doing, and rewound it. And was like, let me see this again. Like,
yeah.
And I listened to every word MJF said, and I was like, holy shit. He's saying it. You know what I mean? He's doing it. And CM Punk does not have an adequate response. I think Punk's going to win because it is what it is. But I was really impressed here by MJF, if I'm being completely honest with myself in my biased ways. Amanda, what did you think?
I was shocked too when I heard the whole thing. I mean, we all knew this match was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And it made me think when the suing came up, I'm like, oh God, no.
Right?
That's something that, you know, I personally, you just opened up a can of worms, but in my fantasy booking heart, which I'll get into in a second, it opened up a whole big thing for me. But
a lot of possibility.
Because I'll tell you how I think it's going to go down, and if I'm right, then fucking we all got to play the fucking lottery. Okay, we have to. But anyway,
glasses for everyone in the chat right now, if you're right.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, maybe I'll get you some wine because of where I live. Or maybe we'll just order something from Carmella because she's a shit.
Yeah.
So, but anyway,
That's great.
so it was very interesting to me because if this did not show people that, I don't want to call CM Punk a fraud. Don't want to do that. That's not the wording I'm looking for. But if people who kiss his coattails, love and death, wanted this to come back, if he was as great with words as he thinks he is and he says he is, you wouldn't be slapping the kind of stupidity and bullshit and plain Jane stuff that was coming out of his mouth as a response. And I'm not saying this because of personal feelings. I'm just saying this because that was his thing. You know, the voice of the voiceless, you know, give me a live mic in my hand, blah, blah, blah. Well, you know, you sound like you shitted on yourself with that live mic in your hand because it wasn't very impressive. So now, what do I think is going to happen? It's Chicago. Okay. You know, we all know Punk will not lose in Chicago. Okay. And as much as, you know, everyone wants to see when's he going to lose, who's it going to be? It's not going to be MJF. What I think is going to happen is that MJF, obviously, with whomever, I don't know who it is. I think two things are going to happen with this. One, MJF is going to try to have Wardlow and your favorite wrestler, the chairman, interfere somehow. But it goes awry. The reason why it goes awry is because I think Cabana is going to come in and it's like, I'm not letting this little fucking shit win this shit. No, I'm not letting him beat it. No, because it's going to be personal because they did not bring that lawsuit up without something. There's always some kind of payout with it. Because, you know, MJF on the indies, there were some, you know, storylines that if you watch AEW, followed it. MJF was Colt's son. But anyways, they're not going to go in that route. But he's not going to let this little shit, one, beat him, and two, beat him in Chicago. Because if there's anybody who's going to beat CM Punk in Chicago, it's going to be Colt motherfucking Cabana. Okay, and then he can retire after that, whatever. I know people are thinking, God, that bitch is nuts. But I'm like, no, hear me out. You want long-term storylines? There's a long-term storyline that's been going on for years. And you don't bring something that was very deeply personal to two people up like that without some kind of reasoning. Because we know,
I agree.
I don't think MJF's smart enough.
Do you think? I think MJF is smart enough, but I also think I don't think that the company is. I think that there's a certain level of freewheeling that's not. I think that he wouldn't have brought it up if they didn't know he was going to bring it up.
But Colt might not have known because Colt was not in the countries.
Correct. Colt's not in the States, and Slim Fox says that. He goes, I'm pissed at Colt because he's not been on Twitch for a while. Oh, he goes, that was the best time to bring Colt into the mix about the podcast issues, but Colt's not in the States, which also
he's in
to
Australia.
Right.
They're like 2 years ahead of us, dude.
But regardless,
Yeah.
let's say Colt was in the back. Because he's with Dark Order and they're doing what they're doing, even if MJF says that, do you even have a Colt come back and stand behind MJF and start nodding your head, or do you wait till later down the line? I think you still wait. I don't think he would have come out either way.
No, he would come out in Chicago.
Yes.
Because it's like, wait a minute. You know, whoa, right? If you're going to beat him, you got to do it right, you know? And people, and it also brings the thing of people will say, oh my God, they're friends again. No, they're not. And that's when I think, if people like CM Punk, right, I would think that would be the only way to have an acceptable loss.
Sure.
Not a Daniel Bryanson or whatever, Bryan Danielson, whatever. Not that.
Because we're going off different things. And here's something else to note. A couple things to note real quick. Splinter Fox does say, I fucking hate Chicago. That's the true heel in AEW. They have too many fucking shows in Chicago. I don't disagree with you. Let me hit... I'm trying to think if I should hit the chat or tell you what I was thinking.
Hit the chat
Let me tell you what I'm thinking first. I'm going to hit what I'm thinking first because they go away from Chicago and go more into other stuff. And I'm thinking about with Chicago specifically, something we've seen from Punk, something that's been very clear, very evident in everything that he's doing, and everyone's been pointing at it. Right now, CM Punk thinks he's Bret Hart. He is literally putting on Bret Hart matches. He's putting in Bret Hart spots. It's easy to find when you're looking for him. How did the Montreal Screwjob go down? You weren't going to beat Bret Hart in his hometown. Do you think they pull off some form of fucking Screwjob in Chicago because it's one more homage to CM Punk thinking he's Bret Hart? You will not beat me in my hometown. And you have maybe a Colt Cabana come out and force a bell to be rung or something to screw him over and let him do that whole thing. Do you think it's possible we get some sort of thing like that?
Could be. That's another possibility too. But I really think, honestly, the way it really should be is, you want to be beaten. You this is your hometown. You're never going to be beaten. Well, guess what? The people know the history of Cabana and CM Punk. And I'm not saying this because I'm a hashtag King Cabana person. It's always been said. It's always been said that the two of them, Colt was the better wrestler. Colt was the more athletic, and he would go far. Punk, size had to do with it, a lot of other things. And obviously, paths are different, but back then, anybody can tell you that was how it was. Colt was the one who was always at first getting the ones that were getting them gigs. And he's like, well, we can do, I can bring my friend, Punk, and we can wrestle each other and blah, blah, blah. They know each other that well. Yeah. They could do that. So I think that, if anything, with that history, that would happen. And I think a Montreal Screwjob could possibly happen because you know what? Tony would get a real big stiffy for that one. Okay. 9 days, whatever. 9 days in Chicago. Might be. Yeah. See? So I think that something like that is big. Oh yeah, fuck you, WWE. Look, we did it too here. So I could see it happen. Yeah. I definitely can. Yeah.
Grimmer says heel promos that are factual need to be counteracted by a strong face promo, a face we believe in and who we want to beat the heel. Do you think CM Punk delivered that?
No.
I feel like he gave a cheap promo and not a strong promo. He gave what he thinks Cena does. He didn't give what he was capable of giving. It wasn't what Cena actually does. It's what you think Cena does. Yeah. The way that he hates Cena is because he thinks Cena does those cheap pop, I'm a tough guy like Cincinnati is, right, Cincinnati? Woo!
It wasn't in Cincinnati. They were in Cleveland.
Cleveland, whatever.
Because
I don't
they
know
made
the
the
difference
LeBron
between
James joke. And
I know. They talked a lot about Cleveland. What's the difference between Cleveland and Cincinnati? None to me. So I don't know. So he's all like, I'm tough like Cleveland. And they go, woo! I get back up because of Cleveland. Woo! And Chicago. Woo! Like, it's cheap pops. That's what he thinks Cena did. But it's not what Cena did. And I think that's why it fell flat to me. Is I went, oh, you don't even realize what you were up against before. It's not that you just couldn't go to that level. You honestly just never saw it for what it was. He did the promo he thought was the type of promo that a Cena would have done, but it's not. No. It's what you saw in it, and that's why I boo you now. Spinner Fox does say, I'm calling a DQ. Wardlow is going to interfere, costing the match. There will be no DQ, Spinner Fox. I'll tell you right now. I'll send you whatever you want if I'm wrong, because there's no way
they
that
never
company is doing a DQ.
No. Absolutely not. Not in Chicago.
They will. Not in Chicago. They will absolutely have something that should make a DQ, but they will not DQ anybody. And Greenberg says, Amanda has been touting a Colt Cabana CM Punk storyline since Punk came to AEW. This is true.
I've been touting this before. When it's like, whenever he was going to show up his little fucking ass, except for WWE, there's going to be Cabana. And there has to, because there was just too much animosity with it. And it also spread lines in between a lot of people that they mutually know in the industry. And it made people choose. And that was a dick move. And that was not on Colt's part. That was on Punk's part. I know way too much about this than I should know, than the normal person knows. And it's not because I'm stalking, it's just because I was around during that time and I was told a lot of things.
Spinner Fox says, I'm sorry, but they need to end the Dark Order and the Inner Circle. Those stables have
Yeah.
passed. I agree with both of that. He does say Cole was a Division A football player. I don't know if that's doing anything, but okay.
He rode the Pine.
Yeah.
For Michigan, for Western Michigan. Come on now. He was redshirted. You could see him in the if you look, he showed it to me one time. He was like, look, there's me right there. And I go, oh, how cute. Did you play? He goes, no.
That's
no,
funny.
not at all. I was the worst collegiate football player, just as I'm the worst wrestler to ever be in WWE. That's a fact.
Funny.
That is a fact, though.
Spinner Fox does say, oh man, Marsh just gave me a scary idea. What if Punk wins the Owens tournament? He goes, oh, please don't do that. The Owens tournament needs to have an up-and-coming wrestler to win that tournament. 100%. There's a couple people I can think of that I thought might win the Owens tournament. And in my mind, my thought was, if it goes to the people I feel like might win it, it's so anti-Owen because Owen was so good to his fans. And the people I think that they're going to put in that position, I happen to know are total assholes to their fans. And so I'm all like, it'd be such a split. But we'll see how it goes. It'd be funny just because of the irony of it all. He thinks it's going to be Punk. I'm not going to go into who I think. Spinner Fox does say, I'll talk to you after. Spinner Fox says, what the fuck ever happened to that tournament anyways? They haven't even said anything about it for a minute.
No.
Yeah, but they started mentioning it. I think it's coming up. Yeah. I think in the next month or two, we're going to have the first match for it. I think it's happening.
Yeah.
Do you think women will be involved, or they'll do a men's and a women's tournament? At least make a double thing? Like a Dusty Cup?
No. They'll only do men's.
That's bullshit.
We just had a women's tournament.
Yeah, but they could have one that matters. Just kidding. I'm just joking.
Let's go there. Does it really all matter anyway? No.
Okay, Spin Fox says they did say it. They're going to do a female and male one. Perfect.
Oh, good.
Perfect. Yeah,
My bad.
absolutely. And then let Thunder Rosa win it. She can win both.
No shit. Her or Serena.
Yep.
Yeah. And circling back, speaking of Serena Deeb, I really love the fact that I can't remember who was speaking. It was was it Prazak or someone? Yeah, it was with Prazak. And like with Dave Prazak, like when he was speaking, he had said, there's a lot of women now, well, actually, no, Punk said this. And actually, I kind of was like, wow, this is the best thing Punk's ever said. Was he said, there's a bunch of women who, if it weren't for Dave Prazak, he and people like Lufisto started this women's revolution. Because look at Sarah Del Rey. She trained at NXT, all of those women, the 4 horsewomen, she did all of that shit. Okay. He mentioned Serena Deeb, and how Serena Deeb's really kind of gone in there and really set the tone. Yep. People like her, and all of these other women. I mean, if you ever look at the Shimmer rosters, you'll be damn. Like Mercedes Martinez is all up in that shit. Even I think Natalia was in Shimmer for a little while too.
Yeah. And
you just see some of those names and you just think, holy fuck. Now there's a lot of women's promotions, but that was the original. And there was a lot of great talent on that roster. And to this day still. Yeah. So I'd love to see Serena win something like that too. Her Thunder Rosa. That's what I want.
Spin Fox says Athena or Statlander, Deeb and Thunder are already over. Them two need to be champions already. They just don't have enough titles. And I think I think what would make Thunder Rosa an important win for it is that she hasn't won either title. Mm-hmm. She didn't win the tournament for TBS. She didn't win the AEW championship. Mm-hmm. And there's nobody in that audience who's confused or isn't confused by that. Everyone there, I guess what I'm trying to say if I start my sentence properly, there's no one in that audience who's confused as to how good Thunder Rosa is. They get it and they know. And of course she's over, but she still has to win something that means something. Yeah. And if they're not going to let her have the title, they're not going to let her have the TBS tournament, giving her something like the Owens tournament could give immediate credibility to that tournament, as well as a make good to the fans of we recognize how great she is and that she deserves more than she has. And this is what we have for right now.
Yeah.
That's why I would say a Thunder. Deeb, I don't disagree, but I think Thunder Rosa is probably a little more in need of that confirmation from the fan base that she's going to be treated well. You know what I mean? Where I think with Serena Deeb, people know that, for better or for worse, people know that Deeb is on the twilight end of her career. We don't know how many years she has. She might have 5-10 more years, but she doesn't have her entire career ahead of her. And she's got a lot to prove. And she was NWA champion, and I think she'll be TBS champion. I think that stuff's coming, but I think that the fans need to know that you appreciate Thunder for who she is and what she's doing now. Where I think with Deeb, they have more time. Yeah. You know what I mean? They have more time to make good for her.
I think with Thunder especially, too, like it's like if you cannot do that, you know, I think because she's such a powerful entity in her own, right? Mm-hmm. Well, you know, if you're not going to give me, you know, whatever, and really make good credibility for what your women's division is and everything, then, you know, why should I stick around? You know, that could be possible.
Well, Splinter Fox brought that up too. He said if they keep messing with her, Thunder won't be there for the long haul. Here's what I think, though. Thunder Rosa said before she's made it very clear that Mission Pro Wrestling is incredibly important to her, and I think for all intents and purposes, that makes a lot of sense. I think outside of Seth Rollins, nobody we know of in WWE has been able to house a training facility. Well, I guess Creative Pro was around. Well, Brian Myers and Zack Ryder were in WWE. Their Creative Pro was a real thing.
Zack Ryder wasn't involved. But Brian Myers was. He was, but remember, he left years ago. Okay, and when Creative Pro started, it was a little bit right after he left when they really hammered that down. Now, when he went back, obviously, you know, he was still active with it. But then, to be fair, what were they doing to Brian Myers at WWE? Yeah. So.
Right, and so unless we want Thunder to show up there and be the Brian Myers of the women, so what I would say is that the reason I don't know that Thunder would leave is that I think that from a business perspective, she understands this is some of the highest paychecks she can get in the industry while maintaining everything she's doing outside of the company. Mm-hmm. And it could be feasibly worth it to be getting money in while doing other things and not have to worry about that other side of things, right? Like, is it the worst thing to ride the pine, like you said, if you're also on your off time doing incredible things like she does? You know what I mean? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because for me, I'd do it. If I had a job paying me to do shit and I wasn't doing anything for them, but I was doing all the stuff I wanted to do, I'm going to keep those checks coming.
Yeah.
There's no big deal.
And also, I think it would be because of the caliber of the women that wrestle with Mission Pro. It's pretty good. And I would hope that she's able to springboard some of those women into AEW because they want, they're trying hard, but it's like, you know, when you have a champion that you're like, okay, you know, whatever. Oh yeah, that was the other thing. This is when you know Punk is sipping the Kool-Aid. He brought up Britt Baker, and I'm like, bro.
Again. Dude, Punk coming out in an AEW sweater every week fucking turns my stomach.
Oh, I know. But you know what? I bet you Colt Cabana is thinking, motherfucker, I probably, you know, I'm making money off of this shit.
Oh yeah, I got $5 for that sweater.
Yeah, $5 for every sweatshirt, man. $5. Keep wearing them. Wear the high-end merchandise, man. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because you would never have seen a guy like CM Punk wearing a WWE t-shirt while in WWE.
CM Punk also retweets a lot of the bullshit on about AEW shit. You would never see him. He never did that WWE.
Nope. And you wouldn't even see Cena out there in a shirt that just said WWE on it.
No!
You know what I mean? That's what I mean.
He's always in his...
Yeah. That's why I loved it when Moxley was wearing a GCW sweater on AEW. Like, fuck yeah, Mox, get him. But I'm biased. I'm biased.
But you know what? That was like, I popped hard for that one. I was like, oh yeah, that's a guy he's trying to fucking tell Tony Khan, you know.
He's telling you what's up. Mm-hmm. Let's wrap up this AEW talk though. Spin Fox does say Tony needs to get off Britt's jock too. I can't disagree with you. Especially this promo this week. I wasn't as impressed as I was hoping it would be. It was fine, but it was fine. Starbucks to say, would you want Thunder as your champion, Con? She is all over the place. It's perfect marketing. And that's what I agree. He goes, Thunder and Joey needs to be taken care of. They are so great in finding and training talent. Yeah. I think that those are, if I were starting a wrestling company now, those two would be probably two of the first people I'd reach out to, which if you had asked me a year and a half ago who my first two would be I'd reach out to, Joey wouldn't have been anywhere near that list.
But yeah.
Thunder Rosa might have been a maybe, but as I look at it now, Joey and Thunder bring a lot more to a company than I think the companies are willing to acknowledge.
Has my love of Joey Janela influenced
your insight into what Joey Janela
Joey
is
Janela.
up to? So if that because of your love of him has brought the insight, then that could be.
Okay, I don't want to say love, okay, because that seems really weird and incestual to me, because Joey's like a brother to me.
I got you.
But my admiration and total fucking respect for the guy. That guy is fucking, he's got a mind. Him and Brett Lauderdale, the two of them together, that is probably one of the most powerful minds in wrestling today. Yes. And then throw Giancarlo in the mix to make it look pretty. Fuck. you know,
give us
you cannot
flair.
deny these guys.
100%. I think also, because I remember talking to you about Joey when we first met. And we were talking because he had just released a bunch of videos online. Or he was he was releasing video packages for AEW, and they went nowhere with it.
Yeah.
But he did a bunch that were like back-to-back incredible and standout things in AEW. And I remember when he first signed, I was all like, fuck this backyard bullshit. You know what I mean? Because I'm fucking high and mighty. Why wouldn't I be? I'm an idiot on a podcast just from my living room. You know what I mean? Why wouldn't I be high and mighty? But I remember talking to you about that being like, there's something more here. And you and I broke down a lot more about Joey. And then ever since it's been more and more and more. So, it doesn't hurt anything. But yeah, I think that Thunder is probably the most important thing you can add to a women's division right now as a company and really lean into what she's capable of. And I think Joey, whether you want to use him in ring or not, is important to have in the company and to be a voice in your ear.
Yeah. And I think, it totally makes sense. And I think people discredit him because they're like, oh, this guy's just fuck. He can't really wrestle. He's his backyard. He's weird. But you know what? No, it's not that he's weird. This guy has a fucking passion and a love that all of us have, because he's that nerd that all of us have inside of us. Yeah. And if you don't want to admit it, then, whatever, come out of that. At
this point, my biggest problem with Joey is that his gear almost never fits him right. So get him a new gear person.
Okay, he's been to be. Let's be fair to Joey. Okay, don't fat shame Janela.
I'm not fat shaming him. Because you can wear clothes that fit. I'm fat, and I wear clothes that don't fall off me every time I move.
Well, you're trying to put a fat on fat crime. Okay, I do it all the time. but no, with Janela, two of the problems is that when he gets gear, okay. Sometimes, and I don't know where this comes from, but sometimes he gets really, really motivated to work out. Because lately, if you watched GCW last week, he was fucking yoked for Joey Janela. And he'll probably go back to, I got my belly and whatnot, and, I got to go back to the pants because, things are kind of getting cellulite-y, whatever.
So he just fluctuates too much?
It's not, he fluctuates too much. And that's where, because it's funny because, shout out again to cosplayer Joey Janela, who's like, he says, sometimes when I do my Joey gear, he's like, do I make it a little bit bigger because we know he fluctuates in weight sometimes? Or he says, do I make it like it's supposed to be? And I'm like, I said, to be authentic. And I said, and I know you strive for authenticity, make it a little bigger.
I think when they make a Joey Janela figure, every single one should be a slightly different size than the one before it. Like, they should not have...
They can't. They're not that savvy to do that. Come on now. Come on. If they're not going to give me fashion doll Ricky Starks, we are not getting weight fluctuating Janela. Sorry. Maybe that's the chase, is there's a skinnier version of Janela where the clothes hang off. That's a chase, but not every other one.
Lost a bunch of weight. I'd be fucked up. I'd be into it.
I really do. You know that.
I would have to have it. If they had weight fluctuating Janela, I would grab it every time I saw it.
If you see that chase and I don't, I would need two. I need one out of the box, one in the box. Because the out of the box one will be hilarious because I will try to make it pants, so little spandex pants, so it'll fit. And then when it doesn't, I'll take him off, and then he's got his regular whatever.
Oh yeah, just whatever.
His trunks.
Yeah, it'd be amazing. Let's see. Spin Fox does say they need a dark title just for Joey. He even said it. He runs dark. I don't disagree with that. I think having something for a reason on the YouTube would be good.
No, he does not run dark. Sorry, I'll argue with you on that one. He does not run dark. You know who runs dark? No, he's trying to now. You know what it is? It's AEW. It's instead of AEW Dark, it's AEW Starks. Okay, so Joey and him, I'd love for them to fight. That'd be a great one. Who would I root for? I don't know, but Joey Janela is not the king of dark. I'll even tell that to Joey's face. He'll probably tell me I'm smoking stuff, but no, he's not.
Spin Fox does say, "Damn, Riho is injured too. Must have happened in Japan."
What?
I don't know. She was in a match like a week ago. She could have been injured there.
Well, she's so tiny, and all these women are fucking twice her size. And then you have Nyla Rose, who's like maybe 5 times her size. You know, shit, I'd get injured too. I might, Plus, some of the women are not that size. So
he says, "I'm gonna make a fucking Joey Janela action figure. I will make a custom toy company, Jazzwares, and then we'll make like 3 different size pants so they fit differently." We'll sort it out.
You need to give Marsh a little bit of kickback on that, because that was his idea and his question about Joey's commentary on his gear.
I'll design it. Let's talk NXT. Let's get to it.
Yes, NXT.
A couple things happened here that I thought were definitely worth mentioning. It did open up with the Dusty Tag Team Classic, MSK versus Jacket Time. This was a match, if I'm not lying, even as much as I love MSK and Kushida, I was not looking forward to, because I have not been enjoying so much of what Jacket Time has been doing. They've been coming off as so 24/7 on an NXT show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm all like, are these dudes just getting ready to go chase the 24/7 title for the next 2 years?
Maybe.
Like, that's what it felt like. That's what it's been feeling like. But this match, there was no comedy in this match. There was no jokes in this match. It was 2 teams, 4 guys, a ton of respect and a lot to prove, and they all did that. And I was blown away by this match. It was so much better than it had to be, and it was perfect. What did you think of it?
Well, the first thing, and because I don't know why, but for some reason I always kind of miss Jacket Time's entrance. So at first I was very appalled because it's kind of slightly racist. I'm yellow card, I can do that. Okay. For those listening, I did this thing, but I can do that. That's why I said yellow card. Okay. And I thought, oh man, this is not a good look here. Right? And it made it jokey, because I can understand they're doing that 24/7 type of thing.
Yeah.
And Kushida, I think, in his NXT run, it's been very disappointing, because he is one of the best junior heavyweights in the world. And now it's like almost like it's like a joke of himself. And it's kind of sad. So
yeah, Kushida's one of the greatest. We have Kushida Schamberger signed by him over here. I remember when I gave it to producer lady, she fucking loved it. Couldn't believe I got it, because Kushida's one of her absolute favorites. And then ever since he's been teamed up with Hiro or Ruggiero, it's been a joke, man. It's been tough.
I know. And it's really sad, because I mean, this is the guy that, like he, every, like for the last couple of years, every Best of Super Juniors, he was like one of the top people that you knew was going to win it or be in the finals. Yeah. Definitely semis. But, but when they actually had the match, I was impressed that this is actually wrestling and this isn't the jokey shit. And even with MSK, because sometimes I think I love them. Sometimes I think it's almost overdone, because they're so talented. And a lot of the people that they're wrestling don't have that kind of ability, that it looks overdone. This was just like perfection. I thought it was great. And you saw a human side to Wesley, because there were a couple things that weren't perfect. And even with Nash Carter, same thing. And I think it really showed kind of that side of they're not completely unstoppable. That it was still very strong. Most people, obviously, you and I and some of us people who like to think that we're, I don't know. I don't even want to say that you and I think we're journalists, because we really aren't. We're just fuckers that get drunk and
Yeah.
we're just fuckers that get drunk and watch this shit, right?
Just fuckers on the internet.
We're just fuckers on the internet, you know. And you know, we're not those ones who think that they could do it better, because trust me, I think I would take a bump and cry, and I would like curl into a ball, and you'd have to roll me out of the ring. But anyways, I think that you know, I watch it like these guys are like, to me, it's like it's effortless, it's perfection. And sometimes, you know, everything's not perfect. And I think that that's what made me like this match even more, because they weren't perfect, but everything, there was a great chemistry everyone had with each other. And I thought that was great. That's how I love tag team wrestling. Have to have chemistry. It's believable.
100%. And it was amazing. Like I said, going into it, I was like, oh shit, jacket time.
Win.
Yeah. And then as the match was going, I was like, oh shit, this is just an incredible match by two great tag teams. This is what Dusty Classic's meant to be.
Yeah.
And it was great.
Absolutely.
I loved it.
Absolutely.
I loved it. Kiro's in the chat with the old son of a bitch handshake. That's actually an old dork chop emoji I made. I made that for dork chop. Hollywood dork chop, I call him now.
Oh.
He's too big for our little show nowadays.
Yeah, people do that. Wait till the day Sam gets big. Stackhouse gets too big for us.
Oh yeah, I can't wait for Stackhouse to be too big for me.
Oh, I
He's a
know.
big
And
dude,
it's like,
but
and you know what we'll say? Yo, Sam. You know, Thunder Rosa still pops in. She listens to us from time.
from time to
What's
time,
your fucking
yeah.
problem? From time to time. What's your problem, man?
Yeah. You know what's wild too when I look back on it? Sam Stackhouse was the first viewer we ever had. We had
Really?
started, and within minutes, he was in the chat, and he goes, "Hey guys, it's my first time tuning in," and he had made a comment about how he wasn't up to date because it was his first time tuning in, but it was the first time we streamed live. And
Oh,
he
wow.
was in there, and I was all like, "Dude, if you think we've been doing this for longer than 10 minutes, then we are fucking on something." You know, like. He was the first person who ever tuned into our show. So to see him doing what he's doing is incredible. And I made that shirt for him. It's on his, if you go to prowrestlingtees.com and look up Sam Stackhouse, I don't support Pro Wrestling Tees much, but I do support Sam Stackhouse. The Sam Stackhouse is okay shirt is my design I gave to him. We used to have it on our site, and every time it sold, I would send him the money from it and say, this is it. And then eventually he goes, all right, I opened up my own Pro Wrestling Tee site, and I said, here's the design, and I took it off my site. And I just haven't looked back. It's irrelevant to me how much he does or doesn't do, but I just wanted to help him. And we got stickers being made by him right now, so hopefully you'll see on our website we're gonna be selling some stickers that'll be Sam Stackhouse made. So maybe we'll see if we can't get him to sign a couple of them.
Yeah, we need to have him come on and talk about that spot in GCW, his spot in that match.
Do you want?
That'd be great. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
I wish you had told me before. I'd have tried to get him on this one. Let's do that. Let's see if next week we can't get him on to talk about his GCW adventure.
Yeah, because that was, I mean, I popped so hard. Like, I didn't watch it live because by the time I got home, it was already midway, and I said, no, I'll just wait. But I popped so hard. I was like, oh my God. I'm like, fucking Sam, what the fuck? Doing
or maybe
things.
Maybe we can pre-record an interview with you, me, and him, and then just drop it at some point. So I'll see. I'll reach out to him. Let's see if we could do that. Let's see. Following up, though, on NXT, just talking about cool shit we liked on it. Spinner Fox says he'll always be in our chat just to shit on the E, which is funny. And he said that the E just got sold to Disney. That was strictly a UK streaming deal. It's just like how WWE sold streaming rights to Peacock. Well, in the UK, they sold those same streaming rights to
BBC?
Disney Plus.
Oh.
Yeah, so he's like, it's going to be a shit show with Disney owning WWE. They don't own WWE. Yeah. They own the WWE network streaming in UK, which is interesting. So.
And I don't think Bob Iger is going to give me a goddamn fucking ride at Disney.
Or here's that's not strictly UK. It's some sort of foreign. It's not American. It's
whatever. But he's not going to give me at Euro Disneyland, at Tokyo Sea. Tokyo, you know, Walt Disney World, Tokyo, Hong Kong, whatever. No, I'm not.
Whatever it is. But it starts somewhere. And Kira says because it starts in Indonesia, right? Because they had the network. Remember when it launched in India? That was a big deal. That's all they're doing. They're getting their network into other big streaming services, and Disney's the one in a branch of the world. Peacock is what it is in USA. That's what's happening. We're not going to see Mickey Mouse show up and referee a match. Although, if I'm being honest, it would be cool. Can you imagine an Arcade Bro match versus 4-Point Otis with Mickey Mouse as the ref? So dope. So
actually,
dope.
Goofy would be a better choice.
Yeah,
because he's lanky.
That's a good. You know, he can move quickly.
Yeah.
Oh, Kiro says it's all international, non-US streaming rights. So Kiro, I know you're from Canada, so you don't understand it. But in the USA, where we are from, if it's outside of the USA, it's the UK. The UK is the entire world outside of the USA to us as Americans.
Wasn't Canada a Commonwealth of the UK or something? I don't know.
Probably, as far as I know, being an American.
The goddamn Queen is on your money, dude. The Queen is on your money. I don't understand that. She ain't on ours.
Oh, yeah. No. If it's either America or the UK. The UK is all of the world that's not America, except probably China and maybe Korea. I think those are the only other. It's UK, China, Korea. That's it.
Why are you picking on Korea? I'm getting offended here. Why are you picking on Korea?
Because they're always in their own news bubble. Their news bubble's always independent. Okay, yeah. I mean, we always hear about them. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah, K-pop rules the world. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's not a dig on them. I'm saying they're independent of what we discern.
Yeah.
Kiro does say.
Kiro, sorry, Korea's got more game than y'all.
They got a lot going on.
But you guys Tim Hortons and hockey.
Yeah.
You know.
Kiro has a good point. He says Eeyore sitting down with Happy Corbin. That'd be a great segment. Happy Corbin, why are you so down, Eeyore?
Oh no, Eeyore taking a nap with Wendy Chu, dude. All for it. All for it.
There you go. Jeremiah in the chat on YouTube says, yes, Canada was once part of the British Empire. See? Nailed it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's all the UK to us, Kiro.
Yep. She still owns your ass because her face is on your money.
Yep.
But the day that her face is not there.
Yeah.
That's how I'm going. What I'm going by.
Jeremy in Time says, so Africa is in the UK. Yeah.
Yes,
yeah. If I'm talking about the UK, Africa counts. Yeah. That's how Americans are.
There's a lot of British ties to Egypt. I was watching that on Disney Plus, by the way. Yeah. Plug for Disney Plus. It's on National Geo.
Yeah. And India. Every time I go to an Indian restaurant, you can get British liquor because it's part of their tradition. They've been owned by the British for so long. Mm-hmm. Kira says Piglet with Alexa Bliss. 100%. See, dude, Splinter Fox is up his ass on this one. There's a lot of great stuff to do here with Disney Plus. Yeah,
you know what would be really, really cool is if you had the fucking House of Black. I know it's them, but the House of Black in the Haunted Mansion, that would be some fucking dope shit.
Oh, yeah.
In the Haunted Mansion. I know I'm going the wrong way, but hey, but still.
Forbidden Doors. Forbidden Doors. What are you going to do? Jeremiah
Doors.
In the chat says South Africa used to be part of the UK. India was also in the British rule as well. See? That's what I'm saying. To Americans, there's America and the UK. That's the whole world. Yeah. That's it. That's the world. So
we've got the British Virgin Islands. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. I don't know what in South America could be like British kind of tied, but I'm sure there's probably something. Mm-hmm. And in Central America, there's got to be something. But if not, then it's connected to the U.S., so it's the U.S. So, it's part of that whole thing. Yeah. And unfortunately, Canada, you're attached. Your only way of, let's not be from the USA and not, say we're from the big bad people is the Queen, because she's on your money. So accept the UK. There's nothing wrong with the UK.
Splinter Fox says it's just a matter of time. Baby steps, baby steps. He says, see, it's a shit show already. He's like, Kiro, excuse Marsh for being a dumb American. We're all not like him. We're all close enough.
Yeah. Well, the British did, people did come from Britain.
Yeah.
To start this shithole over here. So, we're all British.
We're all British in our own way. Kuro says, I mean, now that they have the streaming rights, just have Sasha Banks come out as her Mandalorian character. That could be cool.
That would be really cool.
Yeah, so it's just fucking have the Rainbow Show live from Disneyland. No, it's actually AEW comes live from Disneyland, right? Isn't Dark from Orlando now?
That's at Universal.
Universal is just the poor man's Disneyland. Think about it.
It is. It is. It can't even be Six Flags. Let's go there. No, but no.
Spinner
But
Fox
you
says
see,
Vince would
Tom's
ban
trying to build me-
Matt Cardona from Disneyland and Disney World.
Oh, Cardona would be pissed. Oh
All
my gosh,
right, let's rein it back in, guys. Let's get back on topic. This has been good, but
yes.
let's talk a little bit more about NXT. Let's see, the Escobar challenge Braun Breaker was fine.
You know, here's my my thought on that real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Braun Breaker is kind of grown on. Okay, kind of.
Yes.
So, who do you think is going to be his partner? Because I personally think there's only one.
For Braun Breaker?
Yeah.
They already teased it's Ciampa. Did you not catch
Is
that?
it Ciampa?
At the end of the show, Braun Breaker's like kind of getting jumped by the guys from Legado del Fantasma, and then Ciampa comes up behind him and they scatter.
Oh, never mind.
So you might have missed just... If you turned off the show as soon as the match was over with Grimes, then you missed that. But they teased it's going to be Ciampa, yeah.
Oh, okay. Because you know who I would thought been great?
Yeah.
Two guys. Yeah. Two guys really great on the mic. Yeah. I want that. So that's why I was thinking that.
Yep.
All right. Bad take.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I am always open to more LA Knight. Whatever he's doing, however he's doing it, I want more.
Are they selling that tank top? The red one?
Oh, that was a good one. I loved that one.
Yeah.
That was the first one I saw. He came out and I went, oh, shit. I think I found my first LA Knight shirt.
That's what I was thinking, too. I was like, did they sell it?
I have one Eli Drake shirt, and it's the Shoes of a Champion shirt.
No, of course you have the Shoes of a Champion shirt.
So
Come
good.
On. Why would you not have that? Come on. That's the fucking one of the best lines ever.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. See these shoes? Shoes of a champion. Yeah, you see this jacket? Shoes of a champion. Yeah. And I like how the crowd just starts laughing, and he just looks and goes, wait, did I say shoes of a champion again?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. One of my favorite moments in all of wrestling.
If that did not make you love him, then you know you're dead inside.
Yeah. What the fuck is the guy got to do?
Yeah. Seriously.
Yeah. Let's see. That's funny. Sometimes let's keep this going. It's way better than the Rainbow. So he'd rather us talk about Disney owning WWE than NXT.
Well, you know,
and he said just for men, Ciampa. That's true. Ciampa dyed his beard fully brown.
What? Oh, the Diamond Mine could be on the Snow White ride.
Oh, there you go.
The one they have in Orlando because it's the mine cart ride. You know,
that's a good point. And so you could have the Diamond Ride mine, but then on the edge where all the dwarfs are, you'd actually have the Elite.
No, you have freaking Malcolm Bivens chilling with the dwarves because they're all about his size. You know?
Let's see. Ciampa was teased to be his partner, but then they said we would find out who it was next week. Kuro says that's a good point. We'll see. So, let's talk a little about Solo Sikoa and Boa. Did you watch this match?
Yes, I did.
Did you?
I don't know.
Did you have soon as the match started? They zoomed in on Solo's face, and he had the burn marks on the side of his face. I said out loud, "Oh no!" Did you catch on to that at all?
I did.
So Boa blows fire in his face, right? And they've had like that acid burn thing on his face.
Yeah.
And it's been getting worse and worse every week. Where I thought they should be going the other direction. Make it look really bad the first week and then have it get better and better. So that way in this match, you don't have Solo Sikoa with 1.5 inches of prosthetics on his face that he's going to sweat through and be punched at throughout the match.
Yeah.
About 3/4 of the way through the match, it starts to fall off.
Yeah, I know. I thought it was hilarious. I had to stop watching.
It was dangling, and it was weird and gross, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
It's so gross. And then you see it's dangling, and he's doing stuff, and the cameras are trying not to catch it. And then you could see Aja run over, literally just right in his face, blah, 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 something, and runs back in the ring, and he just grabs it, fucking rips it off, throws it down, and his face was fine. And I was like, oh, fuck. How could you possibly think putting somebody in that kind of prosthetic for a match was going to work? Was ridiculous. But I will say this, in regards to the IWC, because here at the dive bar of the IWC, we like to take them to task. They were very forgiving of this, and I didn't see anybody on my timeline talking shit about it at all.
No, I'm not forgiving about that. Makeup artistry, I'm not forgiving about. No.
Go ahead, hit it.
Okay. Reason why I'm saying this is because as a professional makeup artist, okay, this is where, you're having your glam squad do it. Okay, this is where you do not have people who are in the glam squad do it. Because you need to have people who've actually taken classes on how to use the foams and the latex that they use in these things, 1, and 2, the types of adhesive. I am sorry, duo eyelash adhesive does not hold prosthetics and latex to the skin. No, hell, you're better off putting double-sided tape on them to hold the boobs in, at that point. But I think that you're like, huh, double-sided tape, what, boobs, what? Okay. No, but I think, and going back to Disney does this very, very well in their makeup things. I mean, look at the people who did like Pirates of the Caribbean. I mean, Marvel shit. Okay, just saying. Maybe they can learn a lesson that, yeah, there's ways of doing it. Now, do I know how to do some of this? A little bit, because I dabbled in it for a friend of mine. But when you're dealing with hot lights, like when you're making a movie or some kind of production, things will stay. But if you're throwing in other elements like fighting, moving around quite a bit, no, there's other shit that you have to do to it to make it stay, or else it's not gonna. So, and I'm pretty sure if something did fall off, or how we ripped it off, movies and high production things are gonna CGI that shit on there. Well, we know WWE ain't gonna do that. So it's either just leave it alone, don't do it, or, if you do it like what you said, like make it really bad and do it in a promo where there's like minimal, like, I guess, damage to upset whatever it was you said it with.
Yeah. Yeah, and then and make it get better as you go, so that way. Because I thought at the end of it, I was like, why didn't they just put the Umaga face paint there so you couldn't just like smear it and make it not look like it's anything? But like, outside of that, it was a pretty cool match.
It was a pretty cool match. That Dr. Pimple Popper moment there, I didn't need. That's what it felt like.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, it would have been better maybe if they put pus underneath it, but whatever. But it's tacky. I'm gonna give them shit because you know what, IWC, I would be pissed off because that's something. It's like that's something that if you're gonna do things like, I don't know, have a match that's exploding barbed wire, sparklers, that makes me mad. Yeah. What's the difference between that and like bad prosthetics that are coming off during a match, and then all of a sudden the guy rips it off and it's like, oh look, it's fine. No. You rip a scab off, it doesn't look fine. The skin still looks a little weird, might bleed a little. Yeah, come on. I know wrestling is not real. Sorry if you think it is, but it's not. And that just doesn't help the case. So, I'd be mad. And you should be mad, you see. Get mad about shit like that, not stupid other shit that you get mad about. That's all. I'll get off my soapbox.
No, it makes sense. That makes sense, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I asked Kiro for a link on something. He hasn't provided it yet. Mickey James, I guess, cut a promo that we'll talk about a bit. What did you think about... Hold on. Spinner Fox is saying some stuff. He wants a T-shirt with a milk carton that has Cesaro's face on it. What the fuck is the IWC thing? Amanda, go take a bump and then see how real it is. We've all taken bumps.
I've taken a bump before. Trust me, I want to be a manager. I've taken many bumps before.
Yeah,
but
you took a barrel.
I took a barrel too. Thank you. All in. You could see it.
Yeah.
Fucking
The IWC, I don't know if Spinner Fox is serious or not, but the IWC is the internet wrestling community. It's basically the Twitter community that you stay out of. But then you said that Joey Janela responded to a tweet of yours, so it makes me really question your where you're coming from, Spinner Fox. I'm saying you're talking out both sides of your mouth on that one. What did you think? No, Spinner Fox.
Wait,
what do you think, Amanda, about Gunther cutting his promo about why he stepped away from the name Walter and moved into the name Gunther? What did you think about that video package? Did you see it?
I did. I'm confused. Honestly, like it's not a I don't think it really needed to be explained. I don't know. I'm still confused by the whole thing. Okay, and that just made me even more confused because I'm like, well, why do you have to explain it? If you want to be Gunther, then be Gunther. It's because you're probably thinking, man, I might get the axe soon and I need my Walter name. So that's the only thing I can think of behind the scenes. But it was, I don't know. It was just weird. I don't know.
I liked it just because it gave you a little something. Like the idea that he's saying like it's marking a definitive moment in the timeline that is Imperium. You know what I mean? Like I was okay with that. Like I don't need a lot for someone to say they want to go by a different name. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
Like I mean, bottom line, to generalize it a little bit, like if someone tells me, hey, I'm going by these pronouns, I just say okay. So if someone's telling me like, hey, I'm going by this name because I want to make a definitive break and difference from my past towards my future,
yeah,
I want to be Gunther, I go okay. Like I don't know why it has to be a bigger, I don't believe this reason, or I wish the reason was more of this. Like no, I don't need a ton of reason. A good friend of mine said they're they, them now instead of he, she, or she, her. And I went, okay. I didn't need to dig into it. I go, okay, well, they're them now. Like, I feel like it's a similar thing here where it's all like, he gave a reason. Why is that not good enough for some people? It's good enough for me to go, okay, well, his character is moving forward because he feels as a character that he wants to make a definitive line in the sand. I can understand that.
Yeah.
I'm ready to move forward, and other people are not, and I don't get it. But I liked it.
Yeah. It just, for me, I'm just kind of like, okay, I get it. It's confusing to me, but that's just because I'm really confused by it all. Because I don't think it was necessary, but that's just me.
Oh, I mean, I think I said it last week, too. I understand it because I laughed at the name Walter when I first heard it.
Yeah.
And then there was part of me
Big Daddy Walter. That should make you really laugh when he was Big Daddy Walter.
So I can get it to a degree, but at the same time, I didn't need it. I'm okay with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's fine. Sprinter Fox says, this is the first time I've heard about the IWC. Though. Dude, we've been calling ourselves the dive bar of the IWC for like a year.
Dude, where have you been?
Yeah. This is the first time. Well, maybe he's not here for intros because we do it a lot in the intro and the outro.
Is he here for an outro?
That's what I mean. The dude fucking tunes in and out. And he goes, I follow Joey, so what?
You can't have selective hearing when it comes to this shit. Come on now.
For sure. And he goes, I follow Joey, so what? Damn it, follow Thunder Rosa and more of my faves. All right.
There's nothing wrong with following Joey Janela.
Yeah. So you're a stan.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that. We're all stans here. All a bunch of stans and marks. Grim Reaper says, I just want Io to be champ one more time and then move on to the main roster. I don't need her to be champ. I did like her match with Tiffany Stratton. What'd you think of it?
Yeah. Yeah, I really did. That was a really good match. I think the more and more that I see Tiffany Stratton, that was supposed to really be what Ty Valkyrie's character, Frankie Monet, should have been. But without the daddy, because she's a little bit older. Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, other than that, that's how, I was kind of seeing it. So I don't know. I thought it was great. But what was even better was what happened a little bit later after
What's
the
that?
match.
Go ahead.
Oh, the whole Wendy Chu thing. That was so fucking great.
So good. Grammy said that match was rough, but at least she's on TV. Grammy, I don't know what you're talking about.
No, that was
It was a
rough.
smooth match. They had good chemistry, and it worked out really well.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. When I was watching it, all I could think of was how quickly Tiffany is picking up on this.
Yeah.
She is already head and shoulders above so many talent we've seen come in.
Yeah.
I don't want to name names because I don't think it's fair, and I'm not trying to talk shit or be negative. But there are people who've come in who have had a pedigree on the indie scene who didn't click in NXT. And I feel like that Tiffany is showing up in a way that you wouldn't know she didn't spend any time on the indie scene. She's already smooth in there. She's already working with people. She's got a look. She's got a character. Everything about her is working in a way that makes me able to buy in and boo. Like, she's doing it right. Like, she's a natural.
She's also good on social media.
She's fantastic on social media.
Yeah.
She posted a picture just a few minutes ago, or maybe an hour or so ago.
Paris Hilton.
It was Paris Hilton wearing a shirt that said, "Stop being poor." And Tiffany Stratton retweeted and said, "To everyone who booed me last night." So funny.
Oh, I love it. Oh,
Yeah.
I love it.
Oh, Grimmer says, "Sorry, I mean rough as in I want EO in the title picture." Oh, so it was rough to see EO in a non-title picture match. It was
You gotta be
relatively
clear.
mid-card.
Please be clear. Please be clear.
Please be clear.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because there's a huge difference in those two statements, man.
That's a good point.
Difference. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll be right back. Hold on.
That's good. And Grim says the match itself was good. Yeah. And so, I mean, I was really impressed here by Tiffany. Just blown away by like how quickly she's picking it up. And I know that she's an Olympic gymnast. She was literally on the Olympic American gymnast team this past Summer Olympics. So it would seem natural that she should be able to know how to move the way they want her to. But at the same time, we've seen other athletes not click. So I was impressed. I'm impressed at how far she's coming so quickly, how young she is. We might have a really long, really cool career here with her. She could be, as much as people say Ronda Rousey was the next Kurt Angle, she was in and out in a year. Tiffany Stratton could actually be the women's Kurt Angle. She could be here for a long time and do really impressive stuff. But it was, producer lady wants Tiffany with Zelina and Carmella on the main roster and just call them the tens of the WWE. It's garbage. I love it. So good. Let's see as we go through a little bit. Toxic Attraction and Kaylee Ray, Indy Hartwell, Persia Pirata. I liked the match itself. I thought it was solid. Everyone doing their thing. But I don't think there was like a ton to like write home about necessarily. It was just a solid, good match. Is that the P.O. Box stuff? Oh, you got a bunch over there. Just making a ton of noise opening a shitload of boxes. I got a knife if you want to do it quietly. Grizzly Young Veterans and Chase U. I was only mediocrely into. Let me go on. EO and Tiffany we talked about. I'm trying to make sure we're not missing anything. Cameron Grimes and Tony D'Angelo was the main event. And this match was badass. I thought. Cameron Grimes and Tony D'Angelo had so much chemistry together that I did not expect. Spinner Fox says, "Oh man, is that the done fangirl talk in the background? Gross."
Shit talker.
Nothing to do with Pete.
Oh
What
my
are you talking about?
God. Such a punk.
Oh yeah. We mentioned earlier Sam Stackhouse was the first viewer, and Spinner Fox says he'll never leave just so he can stay here and talk shit. So to them all. Cameron Grimes, Tony D'Angelo. Ultimately, Grimes took the win over D'Angelo. I think it was D'Angelo's first loss, but a really good match. Oh shit, Sam Stackhouse coming through. Stackhouse, woo woo, comes into the tail end of it as we've been putting him over all fucking show. We started off about GCW, dude.
Fight TV.
Oh yeah.
Little clips.
And we're gonna DM you soon, Stackhouse. Miss AmandaJayne put it out there. She wants to have you on the show, even if just for a small segment, to talk about your GCW experience lately, especially the Hammerstein ballroom. So we'll reach out to you and see if we can't do a thing. If not live, we can record it and put it out later. But awesome to see him go through. He says he's down. We'll do a thing. We'll figure it out. I mean, shit, maybe I just send him a link and do it now. You in front of a phone? We can change the visuals. Yeah, if you DM me your email address, I'll send you a Zoom link right now. Let's see, Cameron Grimes, Trick Williams. Oh, they did the Ollie J performance. That was weird. But Cameron Grimes beat Tony D'Angelo in his first loss to earn a North American title shot at NXT Vengeance Day against Mello. I'm really excited about Cameron Grimes being the North American title team again, if I'm being honest. AmandaJayne walked away. She said she was back in 2
Me
seconds.
too.
There
Sorry.
she goes. She's back.
I'm back. Sorry. I had a phone call.
His new look.
I had a phone call. Sorry. Me too. But okay. Who the heck was that big fake boob chick? Is she a wrestler?
She was just a musician. Ollie J or something.
Well, she sucked.
She was not compelling.
Got boobies.
Yeah,
That's how
boobies.
Amanda
but-
just said it. The
Yeah.
question she posed was, "Who is that big boob chick who showed up?"
I called it. Marsh didn't believe me. I called it.
Yeah, she goes, "She's a lot of boobs," and I was like, "That's probably not the whole thing here."
Yeah, it was like
Last week.
Yeah,
boob
last week on the
and hips.
yeah.
But this time, at the beginning of the show, when you saw her with dudes, it was like boobs. That's all you saw. I was like, what the fuck? You know, I heard ODB had stories about how she's popped a boob here and there in the ring, and I'm like thinking, God, I hope that girl doesn't wrestle because fuck, she doesn't look
In
like
the
she
ring?
can wrestle. Yep.
She wrestled?
Yep. Gotta keep on going with the show, brother. Yes, it's true. Talked about it on Colt Command's podcast that I do know. I think she said it twice. Yeah. She said one of her fun bags was not having much fun. I think that was the quote. I always thought that's hilarious. Yeah.
Well, on her Instagram, she just looks like a normal model and musician. She says artist, music. I don't see anything about her being a wrestler.
No, I didn't know if she was because like I didn't know who this chick was. All I knew was she was boobs. She had big boobs.
Yeah. Well, it was funny. Like a week ago, producer sees the graphic in the corner and so goes, "Oh, so you're gonna have somebody who's all boobs next week?" And I was like, "I don't think that's gonna be the whole point of it." And after watching it, I was like, "Oh, I guess that was the whole point of it."
Why can't we have a butt episode, producer lady? Where the guy with the big butt and he's like turning around like the copper tone baby.
Yeah, more butts. More
More
dude
butt.
butts.
See, I don't know if she saw it.
Yeah.
Actually, producer lady, I'm gonna tweet this because it's actually a GIF. I should do it right now.
Yeah. What'd you think of Tony D and Cameron Grimes?
I loved it. You know, Tony D is one of these things where he's really growing on me. His little character. But is it supposed to be more like Rocky Balboa than it is more like, I don't know, Brooklyn Brawler maybe? I don't know, but I don't know. Because when I see him with his little hat and the sweats, thinking you're going to run up the stairs at wherever the hell that place is and, you know, whatever. Or you'll take, I don't know, maybe you'll take the dude from, the shirtless dude from the one tag team where they were going to ask out Toxic Attraction. Yeah, him, I can see him and Tony running down the beach, like Rocky and Apollo. I don't know. But I really, for me, Cameron Grimes, man, that guy can he took some fucking nasty ass bumps that I was like, oh, that didn't look good. Like there was the one on his neck that it looked like his neck probably split in two, but he was okay. But I love me some Cameron Grimes, so that was great. And I think that those two worked really well together. So I was not upset about that match at all. To the moon, I say. To the moon.
Yeah, I was very impressed. I didn't know how
Yeah.
they were gonna work together. I wasn't sure how it was gonna look, but ultimately they put on an awesome show. Oh,
yeah.
and then yeah, I thought the chemistry was so good. I mean,
Yeah.
I think Cameron Grimes will be so good on the main roster in a Sami Zayn like sense.
Yeah. But I don't know if there's a place for him right now. I mean, there really isn't, because I don't want him to, like, you know, we're like, oh yeah, here he is, and then, you know, he doesn't succeed. It just kind of gets, you know, lost in the shuffle. That's what I don't want to see. But, you know, I mean, he needs to be in that main event scene. I really do think so.
I don't think he needs to be in the main event scene to be important. Like, I mean, take Sami Zayn for example. He's not in the main event scene, but he's very important to the show regularly. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, yeah. The main roster now is, it's like right now, I think if anybody they're positioning to really move into that main roster is going to be Braun Breaker.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, because I mean, they can move him now, and it's fine. And that's probably what you're going to see, is him move before almost anybody else. Even someone like a Ciampa who's been there for a long time, or, you know, Roddy and stuff like that.
Although Ciampa and Pete Dunne have been on the dark matches for SmackDown, so there's a belief that they'll be called up soon enough. But
yeah, well, I hope Pete Dunne does, because goddamn, Pete Dunne should have been called up a long time.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Spin Fox does say, wait, Stratton hit Wendy Chu cup out of her hand. Wow, that's messed up. So I think...
Yeah, it was. God damn it. You know what?
Yeah.
That's how I know that's my homegirl, okay? Because I would have been upset too if some fucking bitch came and fucking knocked my goddamn free refill out of my goddamn hand.
I like it too. She goes, I'm not lazy, I'm just comfortable. I like that line.
Yep, I had to quote that. And I'm just like, she's like, dude, she speaks the truth. Yeah, if you don't like Wendy Chu, man, you have no soul. You're not a real person. I think you're robotic, or you have a chip in your head, or something weird. Yeah. She's gonna grow on you. I swear to God, it's gonna be like a bad rash. It's gonna grow on you, and it's gonna be stuck there. And
I actually really liked this particular promo, or this moment, this backstage thing. I had fun with it. Because I thought it gave a personality to Wendy Chu outside of just being a sleepy person in the back.
She had a personality the other day when she was like chilling on top of the lockers and was like spying on everybody.
A little bit, but I thought that the idea that she was like, I'm just comfortable, and the way she said it was... Yeah,
the whole thing about, you know, it's okay, everyone loses CEO, you know?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
That was the best.
It gave her character an awareness, not only of others, but of self, that I was all like, oh, this is cool, you know?
Yeah. You don't see that normally, too.
No.
You don't see people that are like that, which is cool.
Let's see. Spinfox does say, why is she picking on Snorlax? Stratton is the white girl from the cheerleader movie that had the Toby Spider-Man MJ on it. Sure, dude. I think he's talking about Bring It On. He's thinking of
Kristen Dunst.
Kristen Dunst. Yep. So let's probably wrap it up here a little bit. I sent a link to Sam Stackhouse. He was in the chat a minute ago and said he'll jump on the show and talk about his time, but it might be for a later date. But I sent a link just in case. But if he's not able to make it on, real quick, tonight, Mickie James cut a promo saying that if she wins the Rumble, she was going to, proceeds rather than saying Mickie wins the Rumble, first opportunity at a title match once she does. She's more or less saying that she wants to challenge a title versus title match if she wins the Rumble, so that you'd get at Mania the Impact champion versus a Raw or SmackDown champion, title versus title. Problem being that obviously that means whoever wins will then have to have the other company's title on their show. Maybe it pop up on both. So definitely complicates things and make things weird, but I like the concept of it.
Forbidden Door.
The Forbidden Door.
It rings its ugly head again.
Yeah. Fitzcuro said, let's talk about how Mickie James basically tried to say if she wins the Rumble, she'd go title for title with a WWE star with her title on the line. Most confusing promo ever. I have it here. I'll send it to you so you can watch it in its entirety later. But yeah, what do you think about the idea of potential Mickie James title versus title?
It's interesting. Only the brain of Scott D'Amore would really kind of think that now, because obviously what happened with AEW kind of failed-ish. Wasn't very good. But this is someone who was very beloved by the WWE universe. I mean, because Mickie was. Still to this day, I mean, everyone was so upset about the garbage bag thing and whatnot. I'm shocked that she even is doing this shit because of it. And to be quite honest, I think that WWE should throw her a solid and let her win the fucking thing because of what they did, because that's very disrespectful. Especially to someone who was like one of the pioneering women of your company. You know? Just unfortunately, you know, shit happens. You went another route with and stuff. So there wasn't anything for her. So I think that I'm interested to see. Does it make me want to watch even more? Absolutely. And whoever ends up getting Mickie James's number when she comes out, that'll be a very interesting one to watch. Keep your eye on.
Yep. I do think there could be some really cool stuff there. Kuro says WWE just takes Impact's title, never returns it to Impact. Can you imagine? Like Charlotte wins it, and then the next night she just throws it in the trash, and they never talk about it again. And then Impact are like, all right, we're gonna have a new tournament.
Yeah, I could see Charlotte. Couldn't it have been the one at AEW? Because at least I get to see my old man over there. Come on now.
Right.
Yeah.
And Spinner Fox says not gonna happen. She's going to get thrown out of the ring like her gear was in a black trash bag. Wouldn't it be a neat spot though if like while she's in the ring they put her in a trash bag and toss her over like they did with Darby Allin? Remember Darby? They put him in that body bag.
Yeah. They drag him.
Yeah. So see,
Although,
the Impact Tag Team Champion said they turned down the offer to be in the Rumble. I saw that apparently they reached out to the Iconics and asked if they wanted to come back, and they said no. I think it's a win-win.
Why would they want to come back? I mean,
why would you want them back?
Oh, leave them alone. God, so
she did the
mean.
same noise you did from the kitchen. She was also upset with me.
Oh Lord. Yeah, I understand why.
I get it, but I think that it would also be silly for anyone, including themselves, to for even a second think they wouldn't be coming back as a joke. It would be a comedy spot. It would be something where they come out, do something silly and goofy, and be thrown out, and that's that. They're back to be laughed at. They were always jokes.
I don't know.
So yeah, I mean, the idea that they were offered is not a surprise. The idea that they turned it down is not a surprise. Like, I'm not feeling like I'm missing anything. It is what it is. It's fine. And then Jeremy in Time says, plus Mickie basically confirmed that she's coming out to hardcore country and not her WWE theme.
She better.
Yeah,
and everybody better sing along with hardcore country, okay? I'm sorry.
I don't know that it's that impactful to me, but I get it.
No, I would do it.
Yeah.
I would do it. Yeah.
Spinner Fox also thinks Mickie James will be a joke. I don't think she will. I think the Iconics would have been for sure. Kiro said the fact that WWE could book Johnny Knoxville to win, that'd be good. The other thing is this: can you imagine they bring back the Iconics and they come out with resumes? Like, how fucked up? The last time we saw them, they were pitching resumes trying to say this is why I deserve a job, and they eventually got released. So like to have them back is like, yeah, we didn't really care for the resume or what it said on it. You know what I mean?
No.
I'm just fine with it.
Yeah.
But I think that's it, man. I don't know. Is there anything else that you think we're missing?
Oh.
This weekend?
Yeah.
Saturday night? That's when Rumble's on.
Rumble Saturday.
Watching WWE, you better be supporting Thunder Rosa.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
If you're not watching WWE, so Splinter Fox, who doesn't watch WWE, you better pick up Mission Pro Wrestling show on Saturday. If you go to Title Match Wrestling, I believe it's on.
Mission Pro.
Yeah.
MissionProRes.net is where you can find it. But I think it's Title Match Wrestling is where you can buy it.
Oh, you know what we didn't talk about? We didn't talk about the ridiculous promo that happened in the snow by whatever lake.
Beach break, and you had fucking Hobbs and Starks and Tony Schiavone shivering in the snow on a beach show.
Hobbs wasn't shivering in the snow. That he looked pimped, straight up pimp. Ricky looked like a damn fool. I'm like, okay, who wears? Okay, first of all, I hope that they rented that and they didn't buy they didn't make you buy that, because when the fuck are you ever gonna wear that again? Because no. And poor Shivani, my hand's frozen to the microphone. I'm like, oh, poor Shivani. Yeah, I'm like, you get to work with jackasses. But no, the best thing about that was Hobbs in the coat and how serious he was. That was like fucking gangster. That was gangster.
Yeah,
that's the fucking town right there. I'm just gonna say it that way. That's town business. If you didn't know, you don't know. Just saying.
Yeah, if you didn't know, now you know.
You know. Wait, no, we don't got no signs like that. Come on. What do you think it is? Like fucking, I don't know who throws signs like that. It's not it's West Side, but it's not.
Hit Row did the, now you know.
Hero. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yes, and next week, just preparing you guys, because actually no, it's not next week. Week after next, there's going to be some great independent wrestling coming on IWTV, and I really am telling you guys, subscribing to that is awesome, because you're going to get beyond wrestling and some of the really good indie promotions. But to plug West Coast Pro Wrestling, we are getting a match that has never been happened in the United States. It was only at apparently WXW in Germany. And we're getting Speedball Mike Bailey versus ACH. This is something I've been dying to see. I kind of threw it in the ether. And sometimes when you throw things in the ether, they happen. And so, great card. We've got Leo Rush versus really great up-and-comer coming up over here. Titus Alexander. Titus, you're a prick, but kudos on the opportunity. And the women's match is going to be amazing. So one that you guys have seen, Masha Slamovich versus Nicole Savoy versus Kylie Ray versus, who's the fourth? Rachel Ellering. And I'm hoping to God that Chris Hero is going to wrestle. I'm really hoping. Yeah, because he's doing a seminar the next day. So I love Hero. It's always a joy. Like I said, if you are in the around within, I'd say, like a 200-mile radius of San Francisco, you should really try to come to this show. If you need help with a hotel, I can get you a discount. It's got to hit me up. But I think that, or if you are a wrestler and you're in that same area, you need to come learn from Chris fucking Hero. Because Chris Hero ain't nothing to fuck with, and you'll learn a lot of things. So not just about wrestling, but it's open to everybody. So if you are a manager, if you're a referee, whatever, it's open to everybody.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
Let's see. Kiro says, so NXT 2.0 is getting someone named Sangha fired. Whoever came with the name Sangha. I don't know what he's talking about, but he said Splinter Fox talking about Mission Pro. He says the card for Mission Pro this weekend is going to be Thunder Rosa, Holidad versus La Rosa Negra, Kylan King versus Natalia Markova, Maddie Wierentkowski versus... he didn't use commas. So... it's a little hard so it's hard to see which matches are which, but... I mean, here's a list of least people are going to be on the card. You're going to get Thunder Rosa, Holidad, La Rosa Negra, Kylan King, Natalia Markova... Maddie Wierentkowski, Maserati Renegade Twins. Oh yeah, they're great. Versus Kelsey Regan and Viva Van Rache. Chanel versus Gigi Ray. Davini versus Sierra. JP Harlow. Kari Wright. Mission Pro Wrestling Crazy Train. The Saturday Night Title Match Network. I don't know the price though. Fuck the Rumble. Support Mission Pro Wrestling instead. Sure, dude. I want to say the price is around. It's usually like $15 to $20 or so. Yeah. I'd say 25 maybe.
Super affordable.
It's usually
super affordable.
Yeah, usually pretty easy to grab. So I would jump on that for sure. Sangha is apparently the name of Grayson Waller's bodyguard. Oh, for Jeremy and Time.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. Maddie Renkowski, let me tell you, this girl, she's phenomenal. Her character work is so good. She needs to get signed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big fan. Big fan. I don't know if you've seen much of her stuff, but when she was at West Coast Pro, I like watching her stuff on AEW when she's been on, but she really shined when I saw her out here. She did some really great heel character work that I'm like, you know what? It's very rare to see women take on a heel that's not the bitchy fucking, the bitchy diva-ish kind of person. No offense to Mandy Rose and Toxic Attraction because they do it well, but it was a different type of woman heel that was like kind of like sarcastic and you know, and I thought it was great. And she's got talent too, so shout out to her.
Oh yeah, for sure. Osman Park says, looks like it's a membership plan for $10. I believe you get the whole network for a month. Hell yeah, dude.
Oh yeah, $10.
Yeah, jump on that.
You could fart away $10 by buying one of the AEW figures at Target, right, on clearance.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure. So Devi in the YouTube chat says Eddie Kingston versus Chris Jericho is almost forgotten, and I would counter that by saying I wouldn't use the word almost. I would say completely forgotten. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Is it a match upcoming or a match that happened?
I think Jericho was saying that he really wants to wrestle Eddie Kingston, or I thought that was the quote on Twitter. But honestly, I don't. It's just another excuse for him to play Judas and come out. And yes, I did say I'm really tired of this. I am extremely tired of this Judas bullshit. Y'all don't even know. This is the moment for the crowd to get themselves over, and you know what? It needs to stop.
Yeah,
it needs to stop.
Not a fan.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say completely forgotten and not almost. Is 100% how I feel about that. So, let's see. And then Jeremy in Time, as we slow down the show, get ready for last call. He says, it's been teased a lot on TV because Eddie Kingston is mad at Jericho, is holding Santana into Ortiz back. Yeah. That's when Fox says, Jericho, Punk, Bryan need to leave AEW, be a better place. I think Bryan's bringing a lot right now, like it or not. I think Punk is bringing viewership, but I do think Jericho is not bringing much to the show at this point anymore.
Yeah.
But I think that without Daniel Bryan, Hangman Page with as cheap of as a champion as he is right now would be less meaningful without his wins over Bryan, without his matches with Bryan.
But now we did see Bryan, looking his head around with Mox, so that's boring, to be honest. Been there, done that, right? In WWE, boring. Yeah, I'm not dying for a Daniel Bryan Moxley storyline, but I will say that Hangman Page has significantly less credibility without his Bryan matches. Absolutely.
But at the same time, Bryan doesn't need to be in the title picture necessarily. The one thing that's a problem though is that I've said it before, and we'll wrap it up. Daniel Bryan, CM Punk, Jericho, even they've all been billed as more important than the title, and that really demeans your title when you have a good chunk of talent booked as though they're more important than the title. You've got to make sure that title is the most important thing. The thing that Ric Flair did more than anything during his NWA Championship reign was make the NWA Championship seem like the most important title in the entire fucking world.
Oh yeah.
It was what made him rich. The whole I'm rich and I can spend money, my shoes are $10,000 wasn't a gimmick about how he just fell upon money. It was a gimmick about how important that title was because it made that much money. Right now you have titles that don't feel like they're important, and Hangman Page is a victim of that right now. I hope Mox beats the shit out of him, so Fox says. Jeremy Time, also, how random is the Texas Deathmatch stipulation for Archer versus Page? Yeah, absolutely out of nowhere. But again, ton of gimmick matches over there, back to back to back. And then Spin Fox says, Paige beat the best bout machine, the man Omega, which didn't mean much ultimately. And they never circled back to it. And he was then completely sheepish around Daniel Bryan, and he couldn't even beat him. He had to have a couple shots. He finally beat him. And that's what I mean. Like, beating Omega didn't mean a lot by the time that Omega lost it, because they made sure they kind of devalued Omega by making him a big comedy act. He was a joke by the time he's done. But yeah, and then Spin Fox says, yeah, see, another fucking gimmick match. That's what I mean. It means something to beat a person. It means more to beat them more than once, which is why rematches happen and should happen. You're not just a guy who got lucky one time. He beat Omega. Did he get lucky or not? Maybe. But then what happened with Bryan gave him the credibility to move forward with it. So, well, AmandaJayne, you ready for last call?
Yeah, I think I'm ready for last call.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Guys, check us out, wrestlingontherocks.com/shop for all of our shirts and pints and mugs and all of the like. We're going to be coming back to you real soon with some stuff. Hopefully we're going to have Sam Stackhouse of GCW fame coming through to talk about some of what he saw down at Hammerstein. Outside of that, right now is no planned watch along for Royal Rumble, so if anybody wants something like that, you have to reach out. If anybody wants to join in on something like that, you have to let me know, because right now there is no planned watch along, but we will have a breakdown the following Wednesday, as always, here in the dive bar of the IWC for a brand new episode 1.
Yeah,
I'm at Ref Marsh. We have at Miss AmandaJayne. What you about to say?
I was going to say, yeah, because we we didn't graduate to number 2 yet this week.
Nope. Definitely did not. Like, follow, subscribe, do the thing. Screamer says good night. Who wins the Rumbles? It's a tough one. Quick picks. I would say the women's Rumble is either going to be like, I would say a Ronda Bailey or Liv Morgan are the only 3 that come to mind that could feasibly do it for me. As far as the men, I feel like it's going to be a surprise. Someone who we haven't seen out there is suddenly going to come out and win it. I feel like something, I wouldn't say like an Elias, but something crazy like a Rock. I would say a Big E wouldn't be a big stretch for me. I could understand a Kevin Owens if the story was right, but that's kind of where I'm at with it. AmandaJayne, any predictions? Quick picks?
I think we're going to see, I think Bailey is going to come back, and I think that she's going to win it if she comes back. Yeah. The men, I really honestly think that because the time just kind of feels right, I think Dwayne might come back.
Yeah.
Or another shot in the dark would be if Sweet Cheeks comes back. And we all know who Sweet Cheeks is. Yes. If you don't know who Sweet Cheeks, Sweet Cheeks could do it. And if you don't know who it is, then you really don't listen to the show. That's all I'm going to say. Leave it at that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, sounds good. Spin Fox says Bailey's hurt. She's not ready. They better not force her back. 100%, dude. I don't know if she's ready or not. But if she's ready and she shows up, I think she's a favorite to win. I think if she's not ready, she should not come back. That's what I was saying. A few names there. But it is what it is. We'll see how it goes. Saturday is what it is. Give us the likes, the follows, the subscribes. At WOTR the show. I'm at Ref Marsh. With me as always at Miss AmandaJayne. Guys, we'll be back next week for a brand new episode 1 right here in the dive bar of the IWC. Woo! That's the last call.
Cheers.
Cheers! If it is so lady here, or buy us a drink by following and putting the I in subscribe on Twitch. Or subscribe and review our podcast on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to us. Cheers!
I would never have a drink with wrestling on